highly anticipated follow-up to the greatest sitcom rankings of all time. We have myself, my stuff, and of course Riku Rose on the line. How's it going?
Hello. Good. You?
Oh, having a great time. Ready to further continue our heated discussions of ranking the greatest sitcoms of all
Mhm.
time to celebrate, of course, the fourth anniversary of Yakuza Zero by showing some of our favorite 80s sitcoms, along with others as well, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have to make a correction
Mm-hmm.
on my last stream
Mm-hmm.
where we agreed. I think best we go over it again. The
Mm-hmm.
rules on what a sitcom is.
Yeah.
And I said everybody hates Chris. It was
Mm-hmm.
like a C or something.
Okay.
It's a modern comedy. It's not a studio comedy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're all right. So it's been dethroned
Yeah.
down to doesn't count or disqualified. Off to a good start here. We're going back on some of our previous discussions. It's all good. It's okay. It's okay. But all right, that's fair.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, well, so as we're going through some of these other ones, there's a few that I included that were there. I think they're gonna go directly straight to that pile as well, just because I think I included them just because I kept think when I was originally creating the list, I was like, oh, I remember this, and this one, and then as I started to think about our last stream, I'm like, some of these probably don't count.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We got. There's a certain feel to an old studio
mhm.
sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these might still skirt the line a little bit, and maybe we'll might get into a couple of those. So we'll see though. But so far though, pretty good start. I think we got about halfway, roughly halfway through the list. I think this one should go quicker because, like I said, some of these will, I think, be pretty quickly disqualified. Um, but yeah, and there might be plenty more that we're still missing, and maybe we'll do a third if we think of other ones. I think you said Mork and Mindy was one. I forgot to add that on here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Also thought of Bewitched as well.
Oh yeah, Bewitched. Yep, that's another one. Or, well, like I said, there's also Leave It to Beaver, which I could have put on here too, and stuff like that.
I don't know anything about
Good as, or I mean, I haven't watched WandaVision yet, but is that too meta to put on this list?
it. Yeah, yeah. It's. I think you will really enjoy it because, as I understand, you're also a huge Twin Peaks fan like I
Yeah.
am.
Hmm.
And honestly, it is like Marvel went to David Lynch and went, right, we want you to make a sitcom
Hmm.
where slowly each episode you're going to turn it more and more into a David Lynch Twilight Zone cycle.
Hmm.
And then he just went, I fucking do it. Ah.
Come on, Coop. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
honestly, I think I told you this. Like, I have HBO Max that I'm subbing to for this month because there was a bunch of stuff I wanted to watch. I'll probably keep it for another month or two, and I was gonna wait to get Disney Plus till after that. But honestly, like, I keep hearing so many good things about it. I'm like, all right, I might as well just subscribe to it and watch it. So I'll probably do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's $6 a month.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
the end of the
bad.
world.
Well, what's crazy is Netflix now raised their prices to like 15 a month, or at least for the plan that I think I had. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't even watch this shit on Netflix anymore. I may as well just get rid of it.
Yeah.
So,
Netflix just sort of has the sort of privilege of being a first thing that was
mhm.
about. Everyone's still subscribed to it. Like
Right.
if it was new, no one would sign up to Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, granted, this year they're releasing 8 billion different movies and shows, but like honestly, they had their little sizzle reel for that, and I'm like, nothing on that to me looks like that exciting. I don't know.
No, I remember like when they had like 4 or 5 shows and they were all meant to be amazing, and I was like, oh, I need to watch those, and I never got back to it. But now it's just like Netflix original, Netflix original, Netflix, and I'm just like, I do not know any of this stuff.
Right, exactly. So, I'll probably end up canceling Netflix and just go back to it if anything comes out that's interesting at some point. But yeah, all right. So cool. All right, let's get into these hotly contested discussions now. All right. So up first for today, I Dream of Jeannie. Have you ever seen this?
No, have you?
Yeah, so funny enough, I like this one and actually the next one and maybe one or two of these others. The only reason why I've really seen them is just when I used to be at my grandparents' house when I was younger. And so like I never actively wanted to watch I Dream of Jeannie, but it was just on, like TV Land or whatever the hell was on. And so I mean it was funny. I mean it's just a genie and grant some wishes and it's a good old romp. I don't know. It wasn't like
Isn't
the
it just like Bewitched, where it's like a guy's in love with a magic woman and they try to hide it all the time
I
or
think
something?
so, yeah. I mean, granted,
Isn't it?
it's been a long time since I've watched it, but yeah, I think that's basically the premise.
Yeah, yeah. I've always thought I've seen Bewitched, but I used to think I'd seen A Dream of Genie because
Yeah,
everyone just described it as essentially the same show.
right. So
It's just
I don't know. I'll give it a D. It was all right. Granted, like,
D, huh? Okay.
I mean, granted, once again, like I think on with some of these, especially, I mean, you and I weren't alive when this came out, so some of these might not have as much of a, not as much nostalgia or impact for us as opposed to some of these other ones, possibly. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'll give it a
Okay.
D. I Love Lucy, kind of similar situation where like went to my grandparents and like they grew up watching it. And I will say this one, even though I don't actively watch it, like I can understand the cultural impact. I will say that that had.
I enjoyed I Love Lucy.
Okay.
It used to be. It was never on English TV, as far as I'm aware.
Hmm.
But we used to come over to America like 2, 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Obviously, once we've been out vacationing all day, came back, and what we always used to watch was Nick at Night
Hmm.
because it was shows like The Wonder Years and I Love Lucy, things
Right.
like that. I always enjoyed I Love Lucy. I
Mhm.
even back then it was dated to a degree because like that's the '90s I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. This was. I mean, it came out in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean it's still there's still parts that are like really funny and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Of course.
I can imagine watching an episode now.
Hmm. Well, because it
It
was.
would probably
It's.
be
It was the prototype for like every other sitcom, so it's almost like it's like the origins almost.
yeah. It's actually what the first episode of WandaVision's pretty much based on.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The second episode's pretty much Bewitched, and then
Hmm.
the third episode's kind of like Brady Bunch style. But
Oh man, I can't wait.
yeah, it's sort of if you ask people what the first ever sitcom is, I think 90% of people would probably say I Love Lucy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I almost
I,
have to give it like a. I feel like I have to give it a B or a C, and I'm almost leaning towards B because, like I said, it's more like the impact it had. But if we did watch it today, like, would it be that funny? Eh.
think there'd probably be one or two jokes that are hilarious, and then 95% of the rest of them would be like a chuckle at most.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be happy with a C. I wouldn't get upset with a B.
I'll stick with C for right now. I think that's fair. And actually, you just mentioned a second ago another one that may or may not count with Wonder Years, but I guess that's not really a sitcom.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's sort of.
It's been so long since
I
I've
guess
watched it.
I guess that would be sort of your first sort of comedy non-studio audience, sort of like that Malcolm in the Middle Scrubs sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
God, which also is coming back at some point, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Which I didn't quite understand because it's essentially you've got that nowadays with the Goldbergs.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, it is pretty much the Wonder Years,
Okay.
more, but more pop culture referencey than the Wonder Years
Mhm.
was.
Yeah, is that an animated show?
No, 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 no. It's got what's his name from Curb Your Enthusiasm? Jeff.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something
He
completely different then.
he plays the dad. Like Patton Oswalt does the kid's VO. Like the kid when he's older doing that
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
right.
It's got who's the female cop from Reno 911 who always had her boobs out.
Yeah, I forget her name, but I
She
didn't. Yeah.
she plays the mum.
Okay.
It's like every episode is like based on like a big cultural thing. So it'd be like Star Wars, and then the next episode would
Okay.
be like, oh, when they opened Al Capone's vault and things like that.
Got it. Is it worth watching?
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've seen the odd episode. I've not like sat down and watched it.
Mm.
Like,
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking of completely something. I don't know what show I was thinking of. I could have sworn there was like an animated sitcom like family show. Maybe it was a Netflix thing. I could be thinking of something completely different.
no,
Hmm.
I
Oh
don't
well.
know.
All right. iCarly. Did you ever watch this one?
I think my sister watched it. Like, it blends in with like all those other Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
Disney shows. Yeah.
So like this. So I only watched it a few times, and it was only because like I had it on, and I was like, okay, it's on the background, whatever. I'll just leave it on while I'm doing something else. I never really actively paid attention to it, but like I know my niece, she watched it, and then actually, funny enough, a couple of my friends actually did watch it, and they did enjoy it because I think it was not long after Drake and Josh, because Miranda Cosgrove, like after doing Drake and Josh, she was like, the little sister on that show, and then she did this show, and she was like the star of this show, and so it became popular. It's not, I don't think it's connected, but yeah, they're like completely separate. Not the MCU here, it's different universes here. But
Everything's in the St. Elsewhere kid's head.
right, exactly. So I mean, I know it was popular. I honestly just barely ever watched it, so I might have to put this in the like know little about category, unless you have a strong feeling if you wanted a higher rank.
No, no. As I say, I'm not even sure if I've ever seen it. So that shows how much of an impression it left,
Yeah,
even if I did see it.
yeah, exactly. All right, IT Crowd, which I think you
I know
said,
you loved it.
yeah, you said you haven't watched it, right?
I've like seen one or two episodes.
Hmm. Yeah, funny enough,
Uh,
my wife introduced this one to me because prior to her showing it to me like last year, I had never even heard of it, and I think she even came across it either by accident or maybe someone recommended it to her, and it's really funny. Like it's really good. It's definitely got like the tropes, or not. I don't even know if it's a trope, but like the main two characters, they're just they're in the IT group, and they just have to put up with, like, they're in a big mega corporation, and they're constantly have to like solve people's problems, and of course they're all fucking idiots, but it's really funny.
I saw the episode where the guy goes on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
I don't know if I've
and
seen that one.
he uses the main character, the lady, as he's like phone a friend because she
Mm.
pretends to have the same interests as
Yeah.
him and tries to act really smart, and then just like loses him like £1 million.
Oh my god, that's a good one. Yes, I
Yeah,
think I vaguely remember that one. And yeah, it's great because they had, well, Matt Berry's in it. He's like the CEO of the company, and of course he's just a fucking idiot, and he just doesn't know how to do anything. And then basically the premise, I will say, is so the main two characters, um, what is it, Richard Ayoade and Chris Dowd? I think that's their
so
name.
Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd, yeah. So they're
Yeah.
basically, like I said, they're in the IT group, and they get a new manager who's the lady on the left. I do not remember her name, but I mean she's hilarious in it too. But basically, she doesn't know anything about IT either, and she needs to manage them. And so the premise is basically like, they're fixing all these problems, but then they have to help her like show that she can actually run a department, even though she's basically an idiot too. So it's great. I'd highly recommend it.
Well,
Uh,
I always think, like, when you see like a job, when you're looking for a job and you're looking at jobs that are available, and it's
mhm,
like the skills required,
mhm.
and then you think of like every IT department you've ever worked in, and you're like, they're idiots. Like, I knew more than them. Like,
Yeah.
I've had people. I worked in an office where you have the IT guys come up and like they try to act like plugging in a mouse is like they just solved like the atom.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and like, should I open up Excel because I'm gonna blow this guy's mind?
Well, if I remember correctly, there was one episode where like Matt Berry's character, like he literally he like couldn't get his computer to work, and they called him up like, this is emergency. We need to get this to be solved, and then like he basically walks around and just turns it on. Like that's it. Like he just didn't turn it on. That's
Yeah.
basically the premise. And it's just stupid shit like that.
So
God.
the office I worked in, they literally had a rule that you couldn't even plug anything in.
The
You had to
fuck.
get like maintenance or IT to do it because what it was like all the wires were like behind the desks and stuff like that.
Uh,
And it was really stupid. Like they'd freak out if you tried. So I had like a desk, like a fan on the desk that I
Mm.
tried plugging in, and they all freaked out and were like, "You need to call IT." I'm like, I can plug in a fan.
No, no, no.
Do it at home.
That's too complicated.
Yeah. I was like, okay, and then they were just like, I had to call the IT department to plug in a fan. So, and they were like, yeah, they were like, we can give you an appointment. I'm like, okay, when is it? And they're like, oh, like 3 days time at 2 o'clock. And I
Sure.
was just like, I just went, I'll do it myself. And they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I like hung up on them and I
Yeah.
started doing it. And then the boss was like, Mark, we just said you can't do it. I'm like, if you want to fire me, fire me. And I just plugged it in.
Yeah, like that is such an extreme. Holy crap.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like people. That's the thing is, it's a place where most of the people were 40 to 50.
Okay.
Know a fucking thing about computers.
But that's not a computer. It's a
And-
fan.
Oh, I know, but they build it up in the head.
Oh, okay.
Like if you do this wrong, you're gonna mess up everything.
The mainframe will go down.
Like I'm sure you've seen it. Like your parents maybe or something, where they panic about clicking the wrong thing on
Yeah,
the internet,
of course. Yeah.
and you're like, if you click the wrong thing, you just press back. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
oh my god, I love it. That's hilarious. Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a lovely company to work at.
There's a reason I don't work there anymore.
I can imagine. That's
Yeah.
fucking great. I love it. I would give IT Crowd probably a B, honestly.
Yeah, I can. Even though I say I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes, it's a show I know I really, really enjoy.
Hmm.
I've just never sat down
Yeah.
and like
Hmm.
put it on from episode 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I haven't technically seen all the episodes. It was mostly because my wife was watching it. But whenever she would turn it on, I would watch it and I would laugh my ass off. I would need to go back and kind of finish the rest, but it's a good one for sure. All right.
Yeah.
Keenan and Kel. Did you ever watch that?
So here's my question: Did you ever have the rumor about Kel?
The what? Which one? Or wait, what do you mean?
Kel. So it was a big. This was sort of like pre-internet,
Okay.
right? And it was a big thing that everyone thought Kel had died.
I don't know if I remember that particular death rumor. I honestly, I mean, I know for a while Keenan and Kel kind of like didn't talk. But that
Oh,
was,
really?
or granted, maybe that was just another stupid rumor where maybe they stopped talking, but then like not long ago they appeared on camera together and like they're cool. So I don't know if that was actually ever true or maybe they got over whatever issues they had. But I don't know if I ever heard a death rumor for Kel.
So like, I just remember I was like a kid. We were watching it, and I think it was like my brothers were saying like, "Oh yeah," and I like he died in a car crash.
What the fuck?
We were like, "Yeah, okay, right, whatever." And then like I went to like I moved like from junior school to like secondary school, like high school,
Yeah.
and like we were talking about it, and people were like, "Oh yeah, he died from a drug overdose."
What the fuck?
It was like it's this weird thing where like because it was just like sort of pre-internet where you could just go, let's Google it. Let's
Oh yeah,
you know,
clearly.
everyone had a different reason for why he died.
That's just so
Like,
weird. Like I
yeah,
honestly,
like someone would
yeah.
say he got shot or something, and they tell you the thing that blew my mind, right?
Hmm.
Was I watched the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
And he came back.
Well, him and Keenan and Kel do a cameo in.
Oh, really? I mean, I think I saw it
Yeah,
a
yeah.
long time ago, but I honestly don't remember it.
I was like 11 or 12 or something, like, you know, when it came out, and I was like, what? He's not dead?
He's not dead. He came back from the grave.
And then, like, I googled it like years ago, and it apparently was a thing. Like, even in America, it was like, oh yeah, no, I heard that he got shot and
Gotcha.
things like that, and it's just so weird. Like, obviously, someone started that, and it just spread.
That's such a but well to your point though. That's like yeah, pre-internet or pre like kind of social media stuff, and so people could say whatever the fuck they wanted, and people would believe it. So that's hilarious. And hey, it's Brian's in the chat. How's it going? He died via orange soda. He had too much of an addiction. OD'd on the soda. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah. So I'm glad to know. I'll have to look that up, just as I honestly don't remember that, but. Keenan and Kel was a great one, and almost.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is a sitcom because at first I was like, "Well, does this count?" And I'm like, "No, it is. I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely like a studio audience feel and all that sort of stuff." So yeah. Well, the reason why I was like on the fence a little bit is because some of these other Nickelodeon shows are maybe more so the earlier '90s ones are like not quite sitcom level. They're almost like its own type of
Mm.
thing. But Keenan and Kel, I think definitely, yeah, it was like a sitcom.
Yeah. It was always just funny and silly, and it wasn't really. I never knew anyone who disliked Keenan and Kel.
Right. Hmm. And then, I
Everyone
mean,
liked Keenan.
well, also you had the opening with fucking Coolio right out the gate. I mean, come on, what? How could you get
Yeah.
any better than that?
Yeah. That's weird for a Nickelodeon show, ain't it?
Yeah, it was very odd. I mean, it's the only one that had anything like that, I guess.
The Coolio as well, of all people.
And he wasn't like in the show either. He was just in the intro. I don't think he ever appeared in the show.
No, no. I just feel like we talked about Full House is like epitome of '90s.
Yeah.
I feel like Keenan and Kel is sort of the epitome of like a different kind of '90s that was going on as well.
Either that, yeah. Well, more. It's weird because Full House, even though like kids and teens obviously watched it, I almost feel like Keenan and Kel was more like the cool kids, like '90s
Hmm.
teens show, and I guess it kind of went into the early 2000s a little bit as well, so it kind of bled over. But yeah, it definitely had a different. It was a sitcom that I feel like made for teens, as opposed to one that teens could just watch. I guess might be.
Yeah, I feel like Full House is more the '90s for adults,
Yeah. Hmm.
whereas like Keenan and Kel was more like the people who were like into Chicago Bulls and like Tony Hawk, Road
Right.
Skater, and like the
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it felt like. It was well, looking back on it, that's what it felt
Right.
like. Like I always just really enjoyed it. It was always stupid.
Yeah, it was good. And the dad was the dude from what was it, Dawn of the Dead? Or what which
No,
or
I didn't.
wait, no, Dawn of the Dead's the first one. Is it Land whatever whichever the one they're in the mall. Um like there's the dude.
Oh, yeah, I think that's Dawn of the Dead.
Is it okay, I think it is, yeah, Dawn of the Dead. Or yeah, because the first one's Night of the Living
The
Dead.
remake?
No, like the original Dawn of the Dead. Like the
Oh, really?
dad is in that as one of the characters. Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, he was an actor in a whole bunch of stuff. Like Keenan and Kel definitely wasn't
Mhm.
his only thing he did. He did a bunch of stuff. It may have been his peak, but it wasn't the
Yeah.
only thing he did.
Let's be honest. Anyone who starred in Keenan and Kel, that was one of the peaks.
Exactly. Well, fucking Keenan, he's been on SNL longer. I think he might hold the record now for like longest cast member.
Mhm.
He's been on there for so many damn seasons. And it's still on there as far as I know.
He's actually got a sitcom coming this year.
Oh yeah,
It's called Keenan. Just called Keenan.
just Keenan. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I hope. I hope
yeah.
Kel. Wait, what if Kel
Uh,
gets his
I,
own?
it,
It's just Kel.
they should put them on one after the other.
That would be
The
hilarious.
Keenan and Kel hour.
I'd watch that. Oh my god! And then of course they went on to make the Good Burger movie. That was great. Good times.
I mean, like, I guarantee if we watch Good Burger now, it's awful.
I
But
mean,
I
no,
enjoyed
okay.
Good Burger as a kid.
I mean, great in the sense of like, yeah. I mean, it's not good in the sense of like critically acclaimed, Oscar worthy, but it's still stupid and funny to watch.
Jerry Burt weren't giving that a thumbs up.
Yes, two thumbs.
I
Uh,
enjoyed Good Burger as a kid.
yeah, it's fun. All right, Keenan and Kel. What do you think?
I'd give it a B, honestly. Just I know, like, it's not.
I think I. Mm-hmm.
I know it's not like the best, and it's not one that I guarantee if we watched it now, it's not as great.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But like, just looking back on it, like everyone enjoyed Keenan and Kel.
Yeah. Yeah. I never met anyone who disliked it either. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I always just remember
Mhm.
they once did one where Kel had to get an X-ray. It was just orange.
Oh my god, I love. See that's comedy gold right there. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, like I like a sitcom that isn't always serious
Yeah. Hmm.
and that can just sometimes like wink to the camera and be a bit silly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely
Yeah.
one of them. I love it. Hilarious. All right. Next one. This one actually might not count. Lizzie McGuire from the Disney Channel, because I think this one honestly.
That one, that wasn't studio, was it?
Yeah, I don't think it counts, to be honest.
I hated it nonetheless.
I think I watched like a couple episodes once. I don't remember a whole lot.
It was another Disney Channel one my sister always had on.
Hmm.
I'd end up watching the same episode of the show I hated 10 times.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was on. I just never bothered to pay attention to it. So, I'll say it doesn't count. This one actually might be. It's been a long time since I've watched Louie. But I think actually this one doesn't count either because it's like a
Yeah,
it's like a
that's
modern.
not a sitcom. No.
Yeah.
Good
Love
show
Boat.
though.
Hmm.
Never seen Love Boat.
This was another one where kind of back in the day it was on at like my grandparents or something, and I would just look at it basically, and it's a weird one too because it's I mean, it's on a boat. Granted, there's it's a sound stage, like it's a set. I think a good portion of the time, but like,
They didn't
uh,
film it at sea.
I don't believe so. But I don't even know if this. I don't know if I want to say it doesn't count per se because I think it definitely had the sitcom style of comedy, but I don't know if it would fit. I don't know. I guess to be honest, I don't think I've really watched it enough to say. I might just put it in there. What else? Oh, right. He's saying Lucky Louie was a sitcom. Yeah, actually, that's a good point because before he did Louie, there was Lucky Louie, which I think you
Mm.
showed me. You fucking like 15 years ago, however long ago that was. It was like on Showtime or something. Um, I don't. I mean, granted, I watched it
I think
once.
he spoofs it in Louis. I remember an episode where he's like filming a sitcom.
Does he?
It's like flashback, and he like walks out or gets fired,
Mm.
something.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen those. Uh,
It's hilarious because it's like Louis, like his belly hanging out his shirt, and he has like a beautiful blonde wife.
yeah.
And
How could this happen? Just like a sitcom. That's funny. Mad About You. You ever watch that?
no, you.
Yeah, it was another one of those situations where, like, I think I mentioned it last time, where I had like WB on, or just like one of the local channels before I had cable, and I would turn it on like when I went to sleep, and like Mad About You was playing, and we'll get into it when we get to that point for like Spin City and stuff like that. But there was like a block of shows that they would just play like Mad About You or Will and Grace and all those types of shows. So I feel like Mad About You was one that it was just on, and it wasn't particularly memorable, other than the fact that I remembered it
Yeah.
existed. I might just
In
have,
a block of like 4 shows, there's always one that's just sort of there.
yeah. I feel like Mad About You was that one.
I know we talked about it before, but like Everybody Loves Raymond was that for me. Like
Mhm.
it was always in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people. I'm sure there's some diehard Mad About You fans out there. I don't know if I am though.
To be fair, with everything getting rebooted, it wouldn't surprise me if they're like, "We're redoing Mad About You with the original cast."
It's funny that you say that because I could have sworn I read a story uh saying that they were going to do it. Hold on. Let me look this up.
Oh, it would
Um
not surprise me one bit.
yep. 20 years after Mad About You had its last episode on ABC, so that's what it was. Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser are reprising their roles for a 12-episode reboot airing on Spectrum TV. Which yeah, you could see how well
But I
that's going
don't
to
know if
go.
I'm going to be able to get in the work and not have that one spoiled.
Yeah. I think it already came out. So okay, sorry. This came out already, I think in late 2019 or early 2020. So clearly didn't have that much of an impact. So yeah,
It's not going to win any Emmys.
not until they do the next reboot.
Yeah, the
uh,
reboot of the reboot.
exactly. Malcolm in the Middle, amazing show, but
Mm.
kind of doesn't count, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
The prequel to Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Well, prequel to Better Call Saul, technically now.
No, in the timeline they're actually concurrent.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They actually put like the Breaking Bad like DVD
Yeah, I saw that.
or something where they filmed him waking up.
Hmm. Like, I dreamt I was a meth dealer, and like he's losing his mind. Yeah, it's so funny. Oh my god, dude, what an amazing guy. Yeah. So, unfortunately,
Great
yeah.
actor as well.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious. He's such a wide variety too. Like, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but Bryan Cranston got his, not necessarily got his start, but at least in the early '90s, he did voices for Power Rangers, like the TV
No,
show. Yeah, he
see
did
that.
voices for some monsters, and like there was an interview. I'll have to find it and send it to you later. But he's on like Conan or something for a talk show, and like they mentioned that fact, and they actually pulled up a clip, the one of the clips he did, and he's doing like some stupid voice of like a monster is about to kill the Power Rangers, and it's Bryan Cranston. It's so funny.
Well, the reason they got him for Breaking Bad was I can't remember the name of the guy who made Breaking Bad.
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan
Hmm.
works on X Files,
Yeah. Hmm.
and there's an episode apparently I've never watched X Files, but there's an episode where Bryan Cranston plays like a Nazi, and like the
Um.
networks were really like, obviously the guy from Malcolm, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, and like apparently like showed him that episode as like this guy can act.
So there's another episode. So that episode actually, unless I'm mistaking it, I don't know if I've seen that. Well, I've seen all of X Files. Maybe I just don't remember that episode. But there is another episode where he is definitely like the main character of the episode, and Vince Gilligan directed it. Where it's like a really. I mean, I don't want to spoil it in case you ever want to watch it, but it's a really good episode where like it shows his dramatic ability for sure, and so
Yeah.
um, you could tell like he was going to be a good actor. But what's cool is because Vince Gilligan worked on the X Files. There's at least 5 or 6 different people from Breaking Bad that he met on X Files that he cast. I mean, partly because he knew them and worked with them on X Files, which was pretty cool. So.
There an entire episode of Walt Jr. eating breakfast.
I would love to see that'd be just some horrific like sci-fi episode. It just eats his face or something. I'd watch that. Oh goodness, good time. So yeah, great show. Fortunately, doesn't quite count. So it sounds like once again we'll have to do other tier lists of like modern comedy lists or maybe even teen comedy type of stuff possibly. But yeah.
I feel like once we have this list sort of solidified,
Hmm.
then maybe go back to the doesn't count and then throw them in somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We could do that. Married with Children.
Yeah,
I
you a fan?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I grew up watching this one. I don't know. I don't think anyone necessarily introduced it to me, but I kind of just, just found it one day and then like, I had it on and then I think even my brother at one point like he was like, "Oh, like he laughed like he remembered it or whatever because he somehow I guess used to watch it." But for me, I like watched it all the time for some reason because it was I forget what channel it was, but it was just always on reruns and I watched the shit out of it. Like, yeah, that show's hilarious to me.
Kid, I always remember thinking it looked like really cheap
Hmm.
and not really enjoying it. Like the sets looked cheap. It
Oh
just looked
yeah,
like
looks like a
you could
shithole.
push over the set. Yeah, but it looked like you could go and walked in the back and just push the entire wall down.
Hmm.
I remember as a kid being like, this like I didn't know if I thought it was old because of that or
Hmm.
something, like, and I weren't into it. But then once I got older and started watching it, and you start understanding the jokes more,
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
hilarious.
yeah. And I mean, Al Bundy is just such a, he's just like such a shithead too. Like he's just such a, like I mean, I think it's funny for me. And granted, maybe it's different in the UK, but like Al Bundy is like the quintessential peaked in high school, type of
Mhm.
person in like American football and fucking beer and like that's his like I mean I'm sure there's you can have something similar too for you but like that's basically what he is and like he had the wife who probably like must have been I forget the backstory but like cheerleader or whatever and then like now clearly
Yeah.
she's like a stay-at-home mom of like eating shit and watching soap operas like it's just ridiculous.
I always remember she just used to be like having a drink and like hear the car or something and like polish one like end of the table and then like, oh, I've been cleaning all
All
day
right,
and
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Um,
I think everyone can like relate with Al Bundy as a wall,
mm,
no matter who you are, just because you just working just gets you down sometimes.
yeah,
Like
yeah. It's just like a
not
just
always.
yeah. It's just a standard worker at like a retail store. He fucking hates his life a lot of the time.
I think that's the good thing as well. It's like it's not often in a show you literally get someone who just like outright looks at the camera and says, "I'm not happy."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh my god. And
Like
then
now, if they did
mhm.
that show now, it would be like a very serious take on like modern America and like how like the structure of corporate America wears you down and
Right.
that. Whereas like back in the 90s, it was just like womp womp.
Right. It was just a nonstop just shitting on him constant. There was never a good very rarely was there like a good outcome, I feel like for him.
Yeah, it was like the network was like holding him down, kicking him in the balls while someone put itching powder in his belly button. It was just like,
Yeah.
how can we make this guy's life worse?
Oh my god. And then they had the opening, if I remember correctly, I think it's a Frank Sinatra song. Like it's the famous song that always plays and when it starts. So that was a good way to open up the show. But yeah, I love the
It's
show.
not it's not that if you watch it on streaming now though.
Of course, yeah, that's what I
You
was
have
gonna
the rights
ask.
to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So like, what is it? Just nothing? Like, what the hell do they play?
I think I think it's just like music. There's no
Yeah.
like lyrics or
God,
yeah.
such a damn shame.
I always just used to love the intro as well because that is what my dad used to make out he was like, where it's him just handing out money. Like he's sitting on the sofa and then like the dog took the money from it
Yeah,
as well.
that's so funny.
Yeah,
God, what a great
yeah.
show.
Was he a shoe salesman?
Yeah, he sold women's shoes at the mall.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I, I always just I love that he was just a beaten down character.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
never made any attempt to try and cheer him up really.
no, never. It was perfect.
He normally left the episode more unhappy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor, and I mean he's in. I mean, we kind of disqualified Modern Family, even though I've never watched it, but um, I mean he's just a funny like he can play just this stupid sitcom character, and like he's just great at it. He's good.
Have you seen the thing with him and the newspaper?
And then no,
So every like show or movie he's in, he's reading the same newspaper.
oh no, I
Like,
didn't.
not even like the same kind of newspaper, like the same name. It's the
What,
same
literally the
newspaper,
same newspaper.
like same pictures, same headlines,
Oh,
and
that's
it's like
funny.
him in Modern Family reading it, and then like him like 20, 30 years ago married with children.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
Good times, good times. I don't know. Are you thinking? What do you think? Like A or B? You think it's that good?
No, you see, I'd still probably go C.
C.
You? Yeah, I don't know what. I like how Bundy, the character, the show as a whole, is not like a top tier show to me.
All right, I could.
What,
All right,
what do you think? What do you think?
cause like, all
Take
right,
me out of it. Where are you going?
all right. I can not. Okay, I'm okay with not having it being an A. I can be okay with that. As
Yeah.
far as a C, I feel like yeah, you do have a good point about it is all about him. So like, okay, if you're not dealing directly with Al Bundy, it's like the side characters are kind of just they're I mean they're side characters, supporting characters. So like they really got to be on their game, obviously. So I guess maybe not every single situation that they were in was like laugh out loud funny. So I don't know. Granted, I might be just wearing nostalgia goggles here and kind of forgetting.
I'm happy with a B. I'm not gonna like fight you on it.
Hmm.
I think A is too far.
Yeah. All right. I'll be okay with the B for now. I will put it above All in the Family's racism.
As long as it's above Alf.
Yeah, Alf, you're literally Hitler if you're Alf. Oh goodness. All right, Martin, one of my personal favorites. You ever watch that?
No, we never got that. I don't think.
Oh my God. So this is, I mean, it's Martin Lawrence, which, like
Mhm.
peak at the peak of his career, I would say, or well, actually, that might not be true either. I think this is definitely
Bad Boys, Blue Streak era.
and well, I think it was technically before he started getting cast in a bunch of movies. So I think this is maybe what kind of rose him into stardom a little bit. But then he also did like stand-up comedy too. So I think he kind of started doing that, which really started, his career. And then there was the sitcom that which made him even more popular. And then yeah, he did all the, different movies and stuff. So like, I mean, it's Martin Lawrence. It's like that era of, kind of stupid like that kind of comedy of his, I guess. I mean, if you liked his movies, you'll probably like the show. But like, it's basically just him, uh, just living his life, and he has a girl, or I think maybe a wife or girlfriend or whatever. But like, and it's just, I'm trying to even remember what his job was, but it was just stupid situational comedy stuff. Like I can't even remember the exact episodes, but like it's just I think the funniest thing that sticks out to me is the fact that he also played multiple characters, and so it was almost like in the same style of Eddie Murphy, where like in Coming to America, he'd play like 4 or 5 different people, but like he did it in the sitcom too, and he always had these goofy ass characters that he did. And then, oh yeah, the other thing that stuck out was he had a neighbor named Tommy. And for at least a good couple seasons, it was never said what he did for work. So anytime he would say, like, hey, I got to go to work, like, no one would ever know. And that was just part of the show. No one ever knew where he would go to work, but he would always go out, like, at night, and no one ever knew what the hell he did. And then, if I remember correctly, they finally had an episode where I think he was like a male dancer or something like that, and it was just like some stupid big reveal. And I don't know, like I can't even remember a specific plot point about the show, to be honest. All I remember is that it was just a ridiculous show. Like I own the whole series on DVD because I watched the shit out of it back in the day. But it's been so long since I've actually sat down to watch it. But I remember having a good time with it.
It's like the Drew Carey show where you're like can't remember anything that actually happened. I just know I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you could just put it on and I guarantee you will laugh at the show.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know. For me, it's at least a B, but granted,
I've not seen it, so it's down to you, man.
I'll have to give it a B. It's I wouldn't say it's my favorite of all time, but it's definitely up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's I think it's worth a watch. I don't even know if you can stream it anywhere, to be honest. You might be able to. I can't remember. I don't know, but
I've never looked it up. Never
I'd recommend it.
never watched it.
MASH. Does this count?
I don't think it's sitcom, is it?
I
It's
guess
like no, I know it's like a comedy. It's not like a studio audience one, is it?
I,
It
I
has like a laugh track and stuff.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if it's almost kind of same thing with Love Boat, where like they probably went on location for a decent amount of things, but like yeah, I'm sure it's
Uh,
all like studio. But I don't know. This
yeah, I feel like they filmed a lot of that outside and stuff.
yeah, this one might not count. And granted, this is another one where like I think I only watched it yeah, like on and off. I wasn't like a dedicated MASH fan by any means, so
No, that's one of those ones that you always see in the like most watched series finales and top shows of all
right,
time. But I
right.
don't know. I don't know anyone who's like, oh, my favorite show is MASH.
Yeah. I think it's just
Yeah.
yeah, just an older one. All right. I don't I guess I'll put it in disqualified for now because I don't think it quite counts. Well, yeah, we'll do it that way.
I feel like that was probably one they added the laughter to after as well. Because even, the sort of certain shows you can tell that it's not like a real audience by
Yeah.
the way they laugh and
hmm
stuff. I feel like that was one of those.
Did you ever, when you watched sitcoms with laugh tracks, did you ever try and like hone in on the laugh track to see if you could hear the same laugh track being played over and over?
No, no.
So like there were, and granted, maybe this is only I can't remember what show I used to do it with. Maybe it was Fresh Prince or Martin or something. But I swear to God, there was one show where, and I knew it was a track. Like yeah, they may have had a studio audience at some point too, but like I could tell that they were using a laugh track. But like it got to the point where they used the exact same track like every time. And so the reason why I picked up on it was because at the peak of the laughter, there was always this person who like had this insane, stupid, like screeching laugh. Like I can't even mimic it, and I heard it every single time. I like pinpointed it out from like the crowd of laughter. And so I don't know. I think it was just one show, honestly, that did it, but that used to happen to me sometimes, and it would drive me nuts. I loved it.
The thing that always got me was you'd watch a show and laugh out loud 3 or 4 times at most, right?
Hmm.
And in sitcoms where like most stupid jokes that no one actually laughs at, the
Hmm.
studio audience are like,
They're probably trying to force it too, because no one actually laughed. They're probably turning on the
I think
signs.
sometimes I've seen things where there's like the sign that says like
Yeah, like
applause and
please, like
laugh.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They're probably trying
Yeah.
to force it because they knew it was going to be a stinker. Oh my gosh. All right. Modern Family. I think we'd already decided. Doesn't count.
Don't count that.
Modern Comedy, Modern Family. Moesha was one that I just honestly included because I remembered it existed. All
Heard of it.
right. All right. I'm just gonna include, or I'm gonna put that in the no little. I like I said, I maybe watched an episode. That's about it. So I'll put it in the no little about. Munsters was essentially a competitor to the Addams Family, or have you watched Munsters or no?
No,
Yeah.
I know of it.
Mm. So I personally like it better than the Addams Family. My wife loves Addams Family, so it's a hotly contested argument every time, when we regularly talk about
How
Addams.
you two have stayed together? I
Yeah,
don't know.
we're on the brink of divorce every time we have this conversation.
This is what comes up in therapy: Adam's
Ex-
family versus monsters.
exactly. Look, you don't understand. So it's, to be honest, it's basically just Adam's Family, but another version. And I think it's funnier, but I would put it basically on the same tier as Adam's Family. I mean, it's basically the same show. So it's worth a watch. And then they had well, I will say, and actually, I think you even started watching this channel not too long ago, or maybe you even told me about it. But there's the one channel. Um, I forget what the channel name is, but they say like almost cult classics or like discussion of like kind of forgotten shows, or maybe you sent me a video. I don't know, but anyways,
Yeah,
I started watching that channel a
it
little
was about
bit.
the Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was that channel. Yeah, yeah. So I've watched other videos on their channel, which are really interesting. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because they've talked about, like, Adam's Family had movie like reboots like in the 90s and stuff like that, which were fun to watch.
I saw those.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
then, but the Munsters tried doing it, and they were just like not great. so, so if you're gonna stack those up, Munsters definitely are worse from the movie's perspective.
I don't think that comedy quite transcends to modern day. Like,
Yeah,
there's a reason why the outside of the '90s movie of the Adams Family was like the Brady Bunch movie, where it's sort of a spoof that they're out
yeah,
of place in modern day.
right, right.
I mean, most of those like '90s movies based on TV shows were normally like, oh, like let's cheat them out of the house they live in or something because it's worth millions.
Right.
I think there was a Casper movie where they wanted the house, and like it's
Mhm.
because most people who bought those mansions back then didn't realize how much it was worth.
Yeah.
But then like most of the things like the Adams Family that's worked recently is like cartoons.
Yeah.
There was a '90s cartoon.
Hmm.
I think the last movie was a cartoon. I don't know if that did well or was
Yeah,
good,
I
but
never saw it, but yeah, it came out I think last year or the year before. It's like a CGI type of movie, but yeah.
yeah. But I think those sort of things work more as a cartoon in this day and age.
Hmm. Yeah, I would
Like
agree.
it because I live in Florida. Like there's people who walk around and look like Uncle Fester and the Brady running everywhere I go.
I mean, shit, I walk around in a place that has basically Beverly Hillbillies, except minus the Beverly part, which another one I actually forgot to mention, Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, but it's I don't think those sort of shows quite make sense in 2020,
Yeah,
2021.
yeah, very, very of its time for sure. So, yeah. Um, Another one I forgot, Dukes of Hazzard. I didn't put that one on here either. I mean, not that I've watched
Ain't a
it.
sitcom though, is it?
I thought it was. Well, yeah, maybe it's another one
A
of
lot
those
of
were it's not really like yeah, it's not a studio per
uh,
se.
So the one of the best things was Granddad used to love the Dukes of Hazzard,
Hmm.
and probably about 10 years ago, he never used to have like the English version of cable
Hmm.
at his house. He just used to have like the free channels,
Hmm.
and he came round and he was watching a rerun around our house of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
So, oh, do you like the Dukes of Hazzard? He goes, oh, I used to. He says, I ain't seen these new episodes though. It was one from like the 80s.
The fuck? Weird,
Thought
really?
they were still making it. None of the characters had aged.
Well, they just accelerated 10 years and they're like, yep, it's just the same.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at him like, you know, this is an old episode, right?
Oh, that's hilarious. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Ah, good times. All right. Here's another one. Literally, I've never watched it. I included it purely because just it made me laugh. It's called My Two Dads. Uh, I
Yeah,
just
I know it. I know it more for the spoofs and stuff like that, like The Simpsons, the Family Guys making fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the only time I have actually heard of it. So I don't know anything about it, but I will say, and this is one we'll talk about later in the list. The daughter, like who's in that picture, it was in Step by Step, which I did watch, and we'll get into that one. But but other than that, know nothing about My Two
So
Dads.
I actually know the plot of My Two Dads, which is um, the girl's mum dies, I
Hmm.
think,
Hmm.
and she's left to the two dads who both dated her around the time that she was conceived, and neither of them know who the real dad is.
That's right. You did tell me about that, and it's like, can't we just solve this with a fucking paternity test? Oh my
And
god.
then we went up to all kinds of wacky hijinks.
Right. Oh my
Yeah.
god. That's amazing. What a hilarious premise. I feel like I should try and find a way to watch this just to see just what it is.
I feel like the YouTube of the intro would
Would
probably
suffice.
suffice.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Oh goodness. All right, The Nanny. With Fran Drescher.
Never seen it.
It was it was all right. It was just she's a nanny from
Resounding there.
yeah, I mean, it was her, and she has a very distinct voice, I'll say. Most people find it annoying, but apparently some people loved it. I mean, I think that's just her voice. But granted, she probably exaggerated it a little bit. But yeah, she's a nanny and she babysat kids. I think it was more, um, I don't know, it was just like on in the daytime. I never bothered. I'm gonna actually give it a D. It was terrible, from what I can recall. It
It's
wasn't
as
great.
bad as Elf.
Yes, Alf. Yeah, that's Alf levels. This is next one. Actually, I think might be disqualified. It was another Nickelodeon one. Ned's Declassified. Did you ever see that?
No. I was when you said Ned's Declassified, I'm thinking, what's that new Muppet show on Disney Plus? That's Ned something.
Yeah, it must be something else. Yeah, this is basic. I mean, it's not a bad show. It's basically about a kid who like gives tips to how to survive in high school or junior high or whatever, and just stupid hijinks
I'm
like
gonna
that.
just say now, whatever tips he gave would have got you arse beat in
Yeah,
real life.
some of them I think were kind of helpful, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't like very useful. I think in real life, from what I recall. But yeah, this one, now that I think about it, I don't think it counts. It's not really a sitcom, so
It's so like obviously a lot of sitcoms and stuff like that are American high schools, right?
hmm
And I never took school seriously,
yeah.
especially even compared to other people. But I feel like even the person who took it most seriously can take it nearly as seriously as the people in sitcoms do.
Oh yeah, it's like life or death in sitcoms.
Yeah, yeah. But like in America, is like this high school, this thing where it's like the end all be all of everything.
So, and this kind of comes back to what I was saying before, where like there is I feel like for maybe this isn't the case now. Grant, I've been out of high school for fucking what
I meant more when you were in it.
yeah, like at that time, I would say there was very much a like this is the best it's gonna be type of mentality. Like you got to live it up and all this, like in like a an enjoyment sense. But then there were plenty of people. I feel
Yeah.
like, well, I feel like there was plenty of people who very much took the studies seriously. Of like, no, like if you don't study well, like you're gonna fucking be homeless or some shit. Like I don't know that it was. Granted, maybe my high school was different, but there was definitely a decent amount of people who took it seriously. But coming back to what I was saying earlier about like Al Bundy, there was a lot of people though who were like, you either they explicitly said like this is the peak, or you could tell that was their peak in high school, and like that from that
I could
sense.
understand like for you guys like in the 90s, like your teachers, some of them probably were like in Vietnam and stuff, and then they came back and like
Right,
there weren't much opportunity for them and things like that. Like
right.
so yeah, high school probably like was the peak and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I mean most of our teachers used to be like, oh like if you don't do this you're gonna be collecting bins for the rest of your life. And I'm
Hmm.
like, don't they earn more than you? And then
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
yeah.
Um,
Teachers hated me for that stuff.
yeah. Well, we there was plenty of jokesters for sure too. I mean, I don't know. It's not like that crazy different. I'll say. I'm sure between the countries, but I don't know. There was definitely people who like thought that the high school was like this is the peak of their life, and like for me, I wasn't necessarily like a joker by any means, but I certainly wasn't one who like knew who like thought this is like everything. Like it wasn't that. Yeah, I didn't take it that seriously. I guess I'll say. Uh, Good times. We got hi guys from Kavi Mitsunari. How's it going? We're just
All right, okay.
rating our favorite sitcoms to celebrate the anniversary of Yakuza 4.
Zero,
Or
zero,
sorry, yeah, wait, Yakuza 0 or 4?
zero.
Oh, you said it was the 4-year
It's the
anniversary.
fourth. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Yes, there we go.
yeah.
My mistake. Uh, all right. This one is one that you reminded me of, but I don't think I may have seen an episode, which is was it talk radio or news radio or talk news radio?
I've never seen it. News radio.
News
Yeah,
radio.
I just know of it for it's got Andy Dick and Joe Rogan in. That's all I
Right.
know. I've never actually watched it.
I feel like it's one of those
Oh, and
ones. Go ahead.
say the guy who died from SNL, his wife killed him.
Phil Hartman.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, Phil Hartman.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where it was kind of like with Spin City and Mad About You, where it was like in a block, and either like I always fell asleep by the time it came on or what, but like I knew it was there. I just never tried watching it, I guess.
I don't think it was even on in England,
Mhm.
to be honest. If it was, I missed it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So I think I've heard good things about it, but I just don't know a whole lot
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, it's back in a time where Andy Dick was accepted.
Which, believe it or not, there was a time that existed. All right. Parks and Recreation. Is it? I mean, this almost
I
okay.
love it. It's The Office. That is what it is. It's not a modern comedy. It's a modern comedy. As well.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So funny enough, actually, my wife was the one who really watched this one, and this was one where I kind of just, if it was on, I kind of paid attention to it. So it's not, I didn't dislike it by any means. I just never really paid that much attention to it. But yeah. Okay. So disqualified, but hear great things, of course.
Mhm.
Punky Brewster.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's another like '80s one where it was. I don't even know what the hell the premise was, to be perfectly honest. I just know it existed, so I'll put it in the note.
I'm going to be honest. There's a picture of a little girl. I always thought it was about a dog.
I mean, there may have been a dog in it. I don't even remember.
Cool. Like the American Bull Terrier, the ones like the Target dog with the funny nose.
Maybe? I'm not sure.
I thought that it was about a dog that looked like that. I didn't realize
Oh,
it was about humans.
oh.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I can say fairly confidently there is a human as a main character. I can say that much.
Okay.
So, take that for what you will. All right.
I'm thinking of
Reno.
a different show.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I was going to say there might be one. Reno 911. So this one's kind of a hard one to classify because
I
is it a
don't, I don't think it. No, it's not a sitcom. Film in a studio, do they?
no? Oh, so okay, but that's the thing is I guess is the qualifier it has to be on a studio.
I think it needs that feel
Or sure that feel. I so
because after I spoke to you about How I Met Your Mother last time we did this, I
mhm,
actually like read about it a bit more, and apparently they didn't even film that in front of the studio audience because the way they cut it with flashbacks and stuff,
mhm.
they said it just wouldn't have worked, and
Right.
we would have more just frustrated the studio. But it feels like they could have filmed it in the same studio as
Yeah.
Friends or Third
That,
Rock from the Sun.
that's a good point. So, okay. So if that's the case, then yeah, I guess Reno 911 probably doesn't count. Amazing show, by the way, but I haven't watched it in a while, but it's
I mean, I'd say like Reno 911 has more in common with like Parks and Rec and The Office than it
yeah,
does Seinfeld and Friends.
that's a good point. Yeah. And also, if I remember correctly, Reno 911 was going to get a mini reboot, but then it was on Quibi, which got discontinued.
Quibi.
So,
I think it came out,
oh, did it?
but I think it's Roku have bought their entire library
Oh, okay.
and
Nice.
it's just going to put it all up. Because
Okay.
I've wondered that about at the moment with streaming services and things like that. Like, not all of them are going to survive.
Right. There's too
And
many.
like, what happens? What happens to this content when that place goes down? Do they sell it, or
Just
they
lost.
should have to?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, assuming someone wants to buy it.
I mean, I'll give them $1.
Yeah. Either that or torrent websites, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, like things like say Netflix have in 10 years' time got really in debt and
yeah.
closed down. There'd be someone that'd be like, "We'll give you this much for the entire library."
Yeah, I imagine so. Definitely. I love it. Roseanne. I honestly never really watched it that much, and from what I did, I mean,
Oh, really?
I love John Goodman. I think he's great. And then Roseanne Barr, I know like she can be funny as a comedian. I just like, I don't know. I don't know if I just never got into it for some reason, or just never caught it, or yeah, I don't know.
Roseanne's weird. I've never seen the newer ones.
Right. Mhm.
They came back for a reboot, and then she obviously got fired, and now it's the Connors they call it
Yeah.
now instead of Roseanne. The original series like really good, really fun.
Hmm.
It's like a working class family in America. They're pretty poor,
Hmm.
and most of it is more making fun of like middle class families and stuff like
Well,
that. To be
kind of.
fair,
Well, yeah, because it always kind of maybe the reason why is it kind of reminded me of Married with Children a little bit, and I was like, well, if I've watched Married
yeah,
with Children, then like, I don't know if I want to watch Roseanne, but yeah.
it was a bit more serious than Married with Children, but it was sort of that it made fun of people that turned their nose up at like the poorer people.
Hmm.
And like I think it's like the last two series, they like win the lottery and they're millionaires.
Of course, because why not?
And then it turns out to be a dream or something. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the episodes I saw, I really enjoyed. I'd say it's like a solid C.
See, all right, that sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, I knew it obviously had a lot of lasting power, but I just, yeah, never really got into it for some reason. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which
Used to
that
enjoy Sabrina.
yeah, I watched it all the time with Melissa Joan Hart, who, okay, so before that, she was the star of Clarissa Explains It All. So that's where she came from, right before that, from Nickelodeon. But yeah, Sabrina, yeah, it cracked me up. It was another one of those ones where it's like, it's not just a sitcom, but has that weird little twist to it where it's like, magic and all that sort of stuff. So it was always fun to
It's the
watch.
modern Bewitched.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And actually, I will say though, they recently did, or maybe they're still doing, like kind of a serious
Yeah,
reboot, I guess.
yeah. That looks so far removed to me that I
Hmm.
didn't quite understand. Because when it there was a movie first, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Hmm.
Wait, I don't know if it was like made by the same because it's like Buffy the Vampire
Hmm.
was like a movie made by
Right.
Joss Whedon,
Right.
and then like he hated it or something, and then made the show what he actually wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if that was the same here.
It sounds either that or maybe it was a comic or something. I honestly I'm not entirely sure. But at least from what I remember, it was fun. I had a good time. I would always watch it if it was on. I don't.
I like the cat.
Yeah, was it Salem?
Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you watch it now, doesn't look like a real cat like I remember in my head.
It's just very stiff. Why aren't you moving? Are you dead?
Yeah, he's just like.
um, I feel like I want to give it a C or a B. I don't know.
I'll give it a C. I
C.
mean, even now, look, it's not like Keenan and Kel. I think it would be a harder watch than even Keenan and Kel now. Even that is a kids show, sort of essentially.
Yeah.
Um, I always just liked as well, like their upstairs closet was just like a dimension to another world or
Right.
something.
Yeah, exactly. Very relatable 90s sitcom family type of stuff.
And were there like a spin-off where she went to college or something?
Probably. I wouldn't. I mean, this next show, I think there was, but I don't know about this one.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I don't remember. But it's funny though that you mentioned Buffy actually, because I started watching Buffy about 2 years ago, and I finished the first season, and then
Hmm.
they took it off Netflix, and then recently, or at least at some point after, they put it on Hulu, and so I started watching season two like about a month ago of Buffy, and I mean like not regularly, like if I just want to throw something on, I'll just kind of put it on, and that show is hilarious to watch. It's like 90s, so 90s encapsulated, or like high school of that era. It's hilarious to watch.
I tried watching Buffy for the first time about 5 years ago, I want to say.
Mm. Hmm.
I think I got to like season 3 or 4. I just got so burned out because it became the same thing, like the Monster of the Week style of show.
Yeah.
Like it's not meant to be binged like that.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and then it starts like tying into Angel and things like that, and I like watched
Hmm.
2 episodes of that, and I'm like, oh, this is now there's even more of the same thing, and I was like,
But yeah, this is
yeah,
enough. Yeah.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I watched it week to week when it came out.
Yeah. Exactly. Saved by the Bell. This was
Hmm.
a very quintessential, 90s teen type of show. This was almost, I
And
almost,
something else they've just rebooted.
correct. Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched that yet. But this is almost like a slight precursor to like the Nick sitcom stuff, like before Keenan and Kel and like Drake and Josh and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So I feel like this almost kind of laid the groundwork a little bit for like teen sitcom stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
wasn't it on like NBC out here, like prime time?
Um, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
I think it was always on as like a kids morning or kids afternoon show back in England.
Oh, got it,
Wasn't
got it.
on like 8 p.m. at night or anything.
Well, actually, you know what? I take that back because there was something that I don't remember what it was called, but like I think ABC or NBC or whatever, they almost had like after school block. So maybe not prime time, but it was like, oh, you come home from school and I'm gonna watch Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World or Fresh Prince, and it was like those shows kind of
Hmm.
back to back. So maybe not prime time,
Okay.
but it was definitely part of like a dedicated block for like teens and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time watching it. I mean, it was just a ridiculous, and also I will say a very odd twist that Zach could like freeze time whenever he wanted randomly. Like, I don't know how they got away with that one.
There's a joke on like Family Guy where it's like the principal's giving an announcement over the tannoy, and he's like, and if Zach Morris could stop freezing time, we'll all get home a lot quicker.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean it was good. I mean I feel like it's one of those it's very much it's a time capsule of like 90s high school, and it's
Yeah.
very much of its time. So I feel like, I mean, I haven't watched it in forever, so I feel like, yeah, I'd probably get a laugh out of it here and there if I put it on. I don't know if it's like the greatest thing to watch now. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think it's one of those shows where like you see everyone wearing those sort of like retro '90s shirts with like the cast on and things like that, and
Hmm.
like everyone gets really excited whenever they do like a magazine photo shoot all together with everyone apart from Screech.
Yeah.
Um, I think the other day we just saw he has like stage 4 cancer or something.
I did see that. Yeah, that really
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
Oh,
Apparently, he's been a bit like he's never got on with the rest of the cast.
that's what I've always heard too. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think he did porn as well for a while.
I mean,
Oh,
probably.
like legit, I think it was like a Saved by the Bell spoof or something like that because
Uh,
he's. I mean, what has he been in the last 10 years? Like,
n- Not a whole lot.
yeah.
Yeah, he always seemed a little off. I mean, I guess that's pretty, you know, like his character. He just seemed off. Um, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? Um,
Well, I remember him talking about he just used to go to Disneyland every day to try and pick up chicks.
that sounds about right.
I, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
No,
So
I, I enjoyed Saved by the Bell. I think people's memories of it are greater than the show itself was.
I think so. Yeah, because like I keep thinking back to Fresh Prince, for example. Like I have gone back and watched episodes that
Mhm.
personally, and I love watching it. Like even though it's a '90s show, but like with Saved by the Bell, it's like yeah, I could probably do it for like a laugh here and there, but I don't know if I would consistently like. Yep, I gotta watch all of these now.
Well, it's like Fresh Prince is still like rerun on things like TBS and things
Right.
like that, right? Like
Yeah.
Nick at Night. Saved by the Bell isn't. And I
Right.
think it's because everyone talks about how much they love Saved by the Bell, but if you put it in front of them, they'll be like, ah, it's fine.
That's that's shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't need to watch it. Whereas Fresh Prince, they would sit there and be like, oh, yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'd give it a C. I
Yeah.
feel like that's harsh considering how loved the franchise is, but
Hmm.
I think people more say they love it than actually love it.
Yeah. Exactly. This one, I don't know why I included it. Schitt's Creek. I've never watched it, and I think it's not it doesn't count anyways. So,
Yeah, I think it's a modern comedy. Yeah.
Scrubs, I think it's the same thing.
Hmm.
All right, this one may piss people off. Seinfeld. Well, maybe I don't know. It depends. I feel like Seinfeld, I've love or hate with a lot of people. It depends. I mean, I mean, it definitely has a lot of fans for sure, but I feel like
Right.
there's just some people who are just not gonna like Seinfeld. Period. Um,
I would actually rank it an S.
so yeah, personally I do love it as well. Yeah, so I'll get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I do love the show for sure. Is it an S though? Cuz
I still think it's amazing. I think you can put on any episode and just be right in it, laughing.
I feel like you could. I'm granted, it's been a little while since I've watched some episodes, but I think to your point, and we've talked about this, like why it would be hard to reboot Seinfeld is because literally they could just look at their phone and like answer any question that they had, basically. So like,
Oh, half of them are like, "Oh, George left an answer message."
right.
Like, "Oh, she's out of town for 2 days. Kramer, help me break in."
Yeah, exactly. So but on the other hand, though, I feel like they could almost challenge themselves to still try and make it work in a modern day. And I feel like with Larry David and Seinfeld, they could probably figure out a good way to still make it work, at least for like a mini season, maybe not like a full
I
season.
think the time's come and gone now because they did it on Curb Your Enthusiasm, didn't they? And like
Mhm.
they showed they could still do it because it was like George made an app or something
Mhm.
about toilets, and like I can't remember when I looked it up, but like Michael Richards is like almost 80 now.
What? Really?
He's in his 70s. Well, you got to think that guy was like in his 40s, 50s when that was on.
God, that's so. Well, wait. How old is Larry David?
Aaron David's got to be in like his 60s, 70s. The thing is, he bald and aged like in his
Oh,
30s.
right, that's true. It just looks the same
You know,
forever.
like yeah, he's always just looked like Larry David.
Oh man, that's a good
You
point.
think Curb Your Enthusiasm's like I think over 20 years old now from
From
the
what?
beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing is, I looked at it and I was just like, they can't do this now. I think I actually saw Jerry Seinfeld live,
Oh yeah.
and I think he said he's in his 60s during his show.
Wow. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. Like, yeah, that does make sense. I mean, given when they started, but it's just weird to think about that. Um,
Yeah. So would it quite work with like George Costanza being almost 70 and complaining about like a girl wants to get married?
But what if they played it straight though, like nothing had changed?
When they did it on Curb Your Enthusiasm, they still like looked a little younger and
Right, right.
things like that. I just don't. I don't think it would work
Yeah,
now. They're too old. But it was all about dating and being
right, right.
younger and just before you like settle down and stuff like
But what if they do it in a nursing home?
that. Like Kramer trying to like get pills to sell on the black market in the nursing home.
I don't know. I feel like Larry David and Seinfeld are such creative people. I feel like they could make it work. But yeah, it definitely wouldn't be the same by any means. But anyway.
Yeah, they should just pick up a season where they're still in prison.
Yeah, yeah, they've been in there for life.
Like Kramer's just kept extending their sentence.
Oh my god, I'd watch that. Man.
Um,
Yeah, no,
but
I'll have to agree with you honestly because I feel like I'm trying to think of reasons for why I would lower it, and it's to your point. Like you could still come back and watch it to this day and laugh. So I would agree with you on that one.
yeah, even though I don't think they could do it in the modern day with smartphones, with
Hmm.
I think you can still watch it, and a lot of the social stuff is still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the weird people they come across, like the low talker, the close talker, and like the loud talker, things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Is it Judge Reinhold, ain't it, where he gets like really angry?
Oh my god, that's funny. I think isn't it on Hulu or something, or did they move that to its own streaming service now?
No, Netflix like bought the rights for like $500 million or something.
Really? Because I know it was a huge deal when Hulu bought it, but then it sounds like it transferred back over or something. Uh,
Well, Netflix just bought it, and they said it's going to be in like 4K and everything like that.
I don't really know if that's a show that you need 4K for, but why not?
But it's saying to put on the press release, I guess.
CGI remaster. Seinfeld.
The special editions.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get the extended
I,
cuts.
I love Seinfeld. It is still. Here's what I don't get: is it was like the biggest sitcom ever
Hmm.
because it kind of broke the mold that other sitcoms followed.
That's fair.
No one else does that still. They still try to be a standard sitcom, and they don't
Yeah,
realize that it works if you break the mold at times.
yeah, exactly. That's
It's like
fair. Hmm.
George Costanza's possibly the greatest sitcom character ever.
He's just such an idiot. Oh my
But
god.
don't you find the older you get, the more you actually agree with him as well?
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like everything he says is technically correct, but it's the side of
Yeah,
coming off like an asshole every single time.
it's the social side. It's the
Yeah,
same with Your Enthusiasm, Larry
right.
David.
Yeah.
And it's like, have you seen the one where it's like he thanks the guy for like paying for dinner, and the wife is like, "Are you gonna thank me?" He's like you're a housewife.
Yeah, what are you
You
doing?
don't make any money.
It's just it's too real, and I just yeah, I mean even though Curb doesn't quite count for this, it's just so funny because it's almost like that's an extension of Seinfeld, but like in real life, like actual real life, where it's not so exaggerated. I feel like at times, but I don't know, it blurs the line.
See, I think Seinfeld's more realistic than people think. Like the conversations they have are more like conversations in real life
Yeah.
than any other like sitcoms. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's played up by comedians coming up with their material and things like
Hmm.
that. But like, people don't talk like they talk in a sitcom in real life.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Mm.
have you ever seen like as well like the modern Seinfeld Twitter account?
I don't think so. Mm.
I just this Twitter account. It's like modern Seinfeld, and it's like come up with like in 140 characters, like um, made up Seinfeld episodes.
Hmm.
But you can just picture it in your head.
Oh, okay.
It's like, Kramer becomes an Uber driver, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. See, but like,
Where
see,
it's like,
that's a good one. Like, I feel like if they did, granted, maybe that once again they're too old to do it now, but yes, that would be funny.
there was one that used to do it. I think it's on It's called Reddit Right Seinfeld or
Mm.
something, and then you get into comments and people make the conversations between Jerry and Julie. But it's always stuff like Kramer and Newman start a dog walking business, and like Jerry finds out that someone's stealing his material.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I gotta check that out. Oh my god. Yeah, I feel.
There's one,
Mm.
there's one where it's like George fakes a heart attack because he can't afford a taxi. He needs to get somewhere near the hospital.
Well, that reminds me of, I don't know if you ever seen Cheech and Chong or not, but I think the opening of the first movie is they call the Border Patrol on themselves so they can get a free ride back to Mexico, which that always stuck out.
Because I used to take submissions as well, like on the Twitter one. So I just wrote one where it was like Kramer goes to an all-you-can-eat buffet and stays there for all 3 courses.
I'd love to see that one. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is definitely. I guess now that we talk about it more, it's not even just the show anymore. It's more like the culture that it generated and like the lasting kind of legacy of it. So, but it is that, like, to your point, it is one where like, yeah, you can also just go back and watch it and still laugh. So I would agree with that. I would agree.
And we got to give a shout out to someone who I forgot to give a shout out to last time, Wayne Knight.
Wayne, good old Wayne Knight.
That guy had a career in the '90s that just disappeared.
God, he's alive still, right?
Yeah, he actually lost like all the weight as well.
Oh wow, good for him.
Yeah, he's like stick thin now.
Damn.
You think he was in Seinfeld, the biggest show, Jurassic Park, the biggest movie.
Right.
He was in other things like Third Rock. He was
Right.
in like Space Jam.
Oh God.
Then he just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Fucking, I'm done. I did all I needed to do.
Yeah. It's Wayne Knight these days. Bring him back.
Yeah. What is he up to? All right, we'll see what he's up to.
Should we start a campaign to get him in a Yakuza game?
Yeah, Wayne Knight for patriarch of some alliance. Yes, definitely. I'd play that. That's hilarious. All right, good old Seinfeld. What a classic. All right, we're getting down to a good chunk left, or not too much left. Sister Sister. Did you ever watch that one?
Yeah, you.
Uh-huh, I did. That was definitely another. I don't know what channel it was on, but I think it was in the same thing of like the teen block of comedies or whatever. And yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was enjoyable. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I made this up in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the premise of the show they were separated at birth, and then like the adoptive parents that had them got together?
I think that is correct. Yes. Let me.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Let me double check.
So I remember the mum and dad were just like hated each other, didn't they?
Yeah. So T
The
and
mum was always
Tamara.
yelling.
Yeah, T and Tamara, twins who were separated at birth, with each being adopted by a different parent. One day, the teens have a chance encounter while shopping at a clothing store in the mall. After the families meet, Tamara's adopted father reluctantly allows Tia and her mother to move into his home so the girls can be together. But just because they're twins doesn't mean Tia and Tamara are identical in any way other than looks. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a good time watching it. I think it's one of those shows where, like, yeah, I remembered that it was good. I can't tell you a whole lot of plot points about it, but I had a fun time.
Normally, it was always like they always try to trick people, didn't they? Pretty much. I think that was the main gag. Was like,
yeah,
oh, I'll be here and pretend I'm you or something.
Yeah, something like that. So I'll say, I think it was
C.
C. Yeah. Well, not C. It wasn't bad. It was about average. This next one was another instance of I remembered it existed, which is Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Never seen it.
I'm just gonna put I don't remember. I remember watching it a couple times, but then I'm like, yeah, I don't recall a whole lot else. Spin City, the one that, other than you, I don't think I've heard anyone else ever talk about that show.
I used to love Spin City.
Yeah, I did too, and it was one of those. I think this was one of the few where, like I said, I would leave it on at night on like WB or whatever it was, but I would actually watch it. It wasn't just a background one. And granted, it's been a long time since I watched it, so I kind of don't remember a lot about it. But yeah, I remember Michael J. Fox, and like it was in oh, what's his face? The guy from Ferris Bueller's Day
Charlie
Off.
Sheen took over. Oh yeah. Cameron.
Yeah,
That's his name in Paris.
yeah, but I forget his
I
actual
don't know
name.
his name in real
But
life.
yeah, he was in it.
Charlie Sheen took over, didn't he, from Michael J. Fox once he quit because of the Parkinson's.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And I still remember enjoying it, even when like Charlie Sheen was in it.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot about that. Yep, you're right. And I don't know if I was just too young where like I don't know if I just didn't notice or didn't care or what. Like I was like, yep, it's still the same old show.
Yeah.
Um,
No, Sin City was also just like a very weren't about a lot. It was like very niche little thing. It was more about the characters.
yeah, exactly. Like I can't tell you what they did. I know they were in an office in like New York or something or Chicago, and like they were. I don't know if they
It
were
was
like.
the New York mayor, I think.
Yeah, it was a mayor because I was trying to think was are they like in journalism or something with the public that they would do, right?
I think they were the public relations
Yeah,
team for the mayor,
that sounds what it, yeah.
and it was like the mayor was just an idiot. Like
Right.
so, most of the time it's them like picking up after him.
Yeah. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so I just yeah, I remember how I always enjoyed it. Like it was fun. Yeah, it was a good show.
One thing I want to give that show credit for as well is I can't remember the character's name, but the black gay guy.
You're right.
Yeah, and it was just they didn't make a big deal about
It's
it.
just normal, yeah.
It was his character. He was a black guy who was gay,
Mhm.
and like occasionally it came up like he was dating a guy, or
Mhm. Yeah,
they made like little jokes here and there, or like the
sure.
guy who played Cameron would go to like a gay gym with him or something like that, or a gay bar
Mhm.
with him, but it weren't like stereotypical,
Yes.
and it weren't like trying. You know that thing where people try to be so accepting that it makes it a parody.
Yeah, again, it's well, but yeah, because they try to make it so obvious and so they're pushing it so much and
look,
yeah.
look how accepting we are. Look how
Yeah.
like, oh how progressive we are, to the point where it's like you're not really progressive at that point because you're still making such a thing about it.
Yeah,
Whereas he was another member of the cast.
right. He's just there. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
I always enjoyed that show. And who was the guy who he was always in like he's always done cameos and stuff. He actually plays like Larry David's cousin in
I know
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't hold on. I got it now. I gotta look it up. Um, Spin City. What's this dude's name? Richard Kind.
Yes,
Mm,
Richard Kind.
yeah.
Who I just like in anything he's in.
He's just. I feel like he always plays the same character in everything, and he's just good at that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one where he goes on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and because his character was an idiot, they're like, how are you doing this?" And he goes, "I'm just guessing."
I don't know. My God, I love him. He's what a great actor. Yeah, he really has just been
What?
in and like everything.
Wait, why isn't Spin City on anything?
I don't know.
One of those 90s shows that's just disappeared.
It's just
And I feel like Michael J. Fox would sort of make it somewhat people interested in it.
I would think so. I mean, let's see. Can I? Is normally when I search on Google, it'll say like, "Here's where you can find it," but I don't. Yeah,
No, I've looked it up.
yeah. It's just
I don't think you can even like rent it on Amazon or anything.
God. It's so weird.
I
It's
don't
just
think
like
any DVDs.
yeah. It's just like gone. It's very
Came.
weird.
I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was. I don't know. I think it's just one of those shows that like I think if you watched it and you kind of caught it at the right time, I think you're gonna remember it and like it a lot. But maybe compared to a lot of the other more popular ones, may have not stuck out or he may have not cared. But yeah, I used to watch it as well.
I just find it weird that certain like sitcoms on like things like Hulu that you look at and you're like, really, who's sitting down to watch
Right.
this?
Yeah.
Like Spin City's nowhere to be found.
Right. I feel like I have to give it an honorary B.
I'd give it a B.
Gotta bump it up. Bring it back. Hashtag trending. Bring Spin Spitty back. All right. Step by Step, featuring the daughter from My Two Dads.
Never seen it.
This was another one. This was kind of a weird one because it definitely ran in that like teen block of shows like Boy Meets World and stuff like that. But and it featured like the teenage kids, but I feel like it definitely had more about I feel like the parents were almost featured more a little bit more than the teens were, even though it seemed I don't know, it seemed like it was marketed to teens and the adults in a weird way, and it wasn't particularly great. It was just something that I knew was on. And the stick out things to me, I think, was that the mom was Suzanne Summers from Three's Company, which we'll get to. And they also had a cousin who like lived in the garage, I think, or something like that. And then I think they turned the garage into a barber shop too. Like it's just really disjointed storylines that I don't really remember a lot about.
Look, there was a lot of sitcoms in the 90s, and you had to stand out in some way.
I guess. I mean, I feel like is that I hesitate to say the 90s are like the I don't know if I'll say the 90s was the best decade, maybe just because, like we kind of grew up seeing those. But I wonder if it has the most sitcoms of the decades. Like, I don't know. There's a lot, I feel like.
I think nearly every comedian had one at some point in the 90s.
That's what it seems like.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give Step by Step.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
was there because there was more more TV channels coming out, like cable was becoming more popular,
Hmm.
like reruns were bigger and things like that. So they was trying to because reruns started becoming a bigger thing probably in the 90s.
Hmm.
So networks were probably thinking like, especially with things like Cheers and stuff like that. Oh, if we can get like the next Cheers, we can like live off this forever.
Right, right. Yeah, it was all kinds of weird shit. I'll give it a D. Just it wasn't like that bad or offensive per se, but it's kind of just forgettable. Oh, and it had Patrick Duffy as the dad, who I believe was in Dynasty or Dallas or something like that in the 70s or 80s, whenever that came out.
Yeah,
So
does, yeah.
there's that. If you're a big Patrick Duffy fan.
Words that haven't been uttered in the last 40 years.
Seriously, I might be the only one alive who's said his name. Um,
You said two more times he appeared.
The next one is our boy Steve Harvey, the Steve Harvey Show, and he. So, it was another one of those shows that, like I said, it was on WB or something that it was just on at night. I would throw it on, and like I did laugh, and it also had Cedric the Entertainer as well, and like it was fine, nothing crazy. Um, I
I've
don't know.
never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, like kind of like we just said, like he was a stand-up comedian. They're like, "Yep, got to give him a show now," and that's where it was. And he was like a high school music teacher or something. Like he played jazz or something, and like I don't know. I think he would always try and ask the principal out or something. I don't remember. Like I don't really remember a whole lot. Uh, I'm just. I'll give that one a D. It was pretty terrible. All
How
right.
he just pulls funny faces on Family Feud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to rank game shows, which we could also do at some point, Family Feud, specifically the Steve Harvey years, which I guess are technically still going, that shit's hilarious. I could watch that any day.
I feel like they play it more for YouTube now, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Taxi with Andy Kaufman and Danny DeVito. And
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Is it Scott Baio, I think, was in it? Or is that somebody else? I can't remember. Yeah, I forget. I watched it a couple of times, and this was, I think, another one of those like it was on at my grandparents' house type of situation. So I don't, to be honest, I didn't.
I enjoyed Taxi.
Is okay? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was always on repeats and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It wasn't the greatest show ever. It was funny. It's sort of like that. I don't want to say like Happy Days, like because I feel like Happy Days were told it's more amazing than it actually was.
Yeah.
Taxi is of that era where people that kind of humor.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. Probably Andy Kaufman kind of on a leash as well, which is a bit weird to say because
Hmm.
you wouldn't think that's possible.
Right.
Um, Danny DeVito as well is just changed as an actor and a person. It's quite weird to think he was considered like quite a serious actor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, shit. He played the Penguin in Batman, like, and he did a great
And that was
job.
like dark
Yeah,
as
he
well. Like,
fucking he was terrifying in that movie. And then
I
he,
mean, like other than the Joker, that's probably like the darkest Batman villain we've seen.
I would say
Heath
so.
Ledger one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that one was like just downright depressing. Um, and I mean, he was in
Yeah,
Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, and that, I mean, granted, that's a
yeah.
comedy-ish, but like there were some serious parts in that too. Yeah, it is weird to see his trajectory.
Uh,
So yeah, what
I
do you think?
always remember. I was going to say I
Mm,
don't think it would age well now because I always remember an episode where so it's Danny DeVito as a high school reunion
mhm.
doesn't want to go, so it's like Scott Baio goes and pretends he is him, like older,
How would
all handsome,
how would
and
that even work? God.
but that's it. It's like because I haven't seen him for like 20 years or
Hmm.
something. They're like, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I had a growth spurt after high school and stuff like that. And they go, and then it gets really weird, and like I saw this like somewhat recently, like
Hmm.
within the last 10 years. So I'm like, this is a bit creepy.
Yeah,
But in the show, it's played like, okay, that's a normal thing,
yeah,
and
clearly.
it's Danny DeVito because the girl he fancied who like dated the jocks that bullied him and stuff.
Hmm.
He always like fancied her,
Hmm.
and he's like, oh, before we leave, he's like, I always wanted to smell her hair.
The fuck?
Right? And then he goes up and like tries to like take a whiff of her hair, and like they're
Uh,
helping him by like trying to distract
yeah,
her
like
and
it's like a team.
stuff.
It's like a team effort. Like, yeah, you got this.
They're like, okay, we'll help you do this. Um, but then obviously she finds out, and then they all realize it's him.
Jesus,
Yeah,
I love it. Good
yeah, I'd
times.
give it a C. It was funny. It was alright. It's
Yeah,
not groundbreaking.
yeah, yeah. I feel, and like, I guess that's another thing too. Just because these things are like C mid level doesn't mean they're bad. It's just like, yeah, they're fun. You can watch them. You can throw them on. Probably have a good time. But they're not like, yeah, the most standout, amazing ones.
Well, that's what shocks me when things like Spin City aren't on like Hulu, for example. But then I
Hmm.
could go watch 8 seasons of Taxi. Like, who's watching Taxi?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, well, to your point though, and Grant, maybe it's not a music thing, but maybe just the rights to some of these shows are just tied up in some really goofy, like weird
Yeah.
situation, or they're just lazy, one of the two. But yeah,
Richard Kind's demanding like 7 figures to
yeah.
sign a contract.
Don't you dare put my face on any of this. Oh my God. All right, that '70s show. Ever seen it?
I saw one episode.
This might be maybe one of my favorite shows of all time, honestly. So but granted, I'm a little biased, so it's hard. Maybe not everyone likes this, but well, so first of all, I feel like '70s in general is just something I always love. Just whether it's like watching
Hmm.
documentaries about or like seeing like music or movies, like I just love stuff from that time. So I feel like this show for sure. I mean, not that I was alive then, obviously, but like it encapsulates that time and like it's purely like just stupid situations. I mean, obviously pre-smartphone type of stuff, almost in a similar way to like Seinfeld, where like like miscommunications of things happening, but like it's also once again it's about teenagers doing stuff as opposed to like adults in the 70s. So and it's just funny, and it's just like Ashton Kutcher's great, Topher Grace, Mila Kunis, what's her face, Laura Prepon, I think, played Donna. So like, I don't know, it's just funny. Every episode I can turn it on. It's great, but I will say the last couple seasons, like with some of the other shows we've talked about, they go downhill a little bit because Topher Grace leaves, and then Ashton Kutcher I think eventually leaves. Um, so like that kind of sucks. But I would almost like if it wasn't for that, I would rank it higher. But
Mm.
mm,
Like the one episode I saw, like it was funny and stuff. It's just one of those shows I never like really sat down and watched.
mhm.
And what you will be happy, the mum with like the high pitched voice.
Oh, what's her face? Deborah something, I think is her name, maybe.
She's in One Division.
Oh God, really? Oh no way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, now I'm sold. All right, now I gotta subscribe to Disney Plus now. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Is she like just like as a main character so far, or is it like a side character or something like that? Or
She's been in like one episode and a bit. Like
Mhm.
she's it's playing up like sitcom. They obviously were like, who can we get to like play up the sitcom element of this?
Yeah,
And she was
nice.
one of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I can't wait.
But then when it gets into like that weird David Lynch territory,
Mhm.
she's there for one of them,
Mhm.
and it's just like really creepy. And it's quite funny.
Oh, that's perfect. I can't wait. And then the dad, Red, great names. Just his name is just Red. Um, he just like does the most. I don't know. Pretty much just says he's gonna kick his son's ass pretty much constantly every single episode, which like in retrospect is like just sounds like borderline child abuse at that point. But he's constantly.
There's a lot of difference between doing and telling.
Okay, fair enough. So for the purposes of this, I
In a
don't.
dark show, with like it's just beating him with a
It's
belt.
just there's just a really dark episode halfway through the show that they never talk about. He just gets his ass beat. I don't know. It's just cool. Like I said, it's an encapsulation of the '70s. It's funny. I don't know. Like I don't think I've ever watched an episode where I just didn't laugh my ass off. So I could always put it on and it'll crack me up. But then again, maybe it's just me. Oh, and I guess the other cool part though is they have throughout the series people who were big in the '70s, whether it's musicians or actors or whatever, like actually appear, um, which is kind of cool to see as well.
The
So
Goldbergs do that, like with
oh,
the
nice.
'80s
Hmm.
side of it. But they have like they had an episode where it's like they go on an airplane and it's all the cast from Airplane,
That's awesome.
like the pilots from Airplane, and
Oh, that's so
there's
funny.
one where they go to a bar and it's like some of the cast members are Cheers and
Oh, that's hilarious. Man, I gotta check the show out.
yeah.
That's funny. Um, Personally, I would give it an A, but I don't know. If you haven't seen it, maybe.
Actually, I've not seen. I see one episode and I enjoyed it. It was fine. It wasn't one that I was like, I need to go watch the whole
Hmm.
series of this. Um, I'm happy to throw it over to you. I mean, I know later on there's a few British ones that you're going to have to sort of throw to me as well.
Yeah. All right. This might be my like
Mm,
I don't know what to call it, like a not a golden ticket, but to say like you cannot debate against.
mhm,
All right. Yeah, that it's one of my favorites. I could fucking watch it all the time. I love it.
mhm.
All right, are you still good for like another maybe 15 minutes or so?
I've got like just under an hour.
Oh, okay, got it. I wasn't sure if you had like a set cutoff. Cool. We're getting down to the rest of them anyways, which is good. So, That's So Raven was another Disney Channel one where,
D
yeah,
D D
D.
hated it. Hated it.
Yeah, I did
Another one that I had to watch because of my sister.
yeah, that is one actually, and I don't know if I don't know if it's because I had like Even Stevens on or something or what, but it was just kind of on, and I actually did watch not like a lot, but I don't know, a dozen or so episodes probably, and I just like I don't know, it never clicked. I never thought it was great. Yeah, it was weird.
So there was a spin-off called Corey and the House.
Oh, I'm aware of
You
Corey in
heard
the
of
House.
this?
I am very aware of Corey in the House. I've seen more Corey in the House memes than I care to ever see again.
So, did you see where a bunch of people, I think it was on 4chan,
Of course.
edited the episodes to remove any reference of it being like a Disney Channel show?
No.
So, they did that, right?
Mhm.
And then on things like Reddit and things like that, people would be like, "Oh, what are the best sitcoms people don't know about?"
Mhm.
People used to be like Corey in the House and like upvote it and things like that, right? And people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh my god, like it's the greatest show ever." People always talk about Breaking Bad and stuff like that, but this is peak television. And then there'd always be like, "You've just got to get through the first season,"
Yeah. Oh
and
my.
then like give people the torrents for it.
Mhm.
And then you have these people, like, it just seems like a really bad Disney Channel show, and like 16 episodes in.
There,
And
that
it's all these people, just hang in there, just hang in there.
yeah, just play. Oh my god, they're playing the long con on that one. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. No, I've not heard of that. That's fine. That sounds something like 4chan would do. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it.
I'll take my hats off to a long con joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they got to put in the effort for that one. That's funny.
I've
Uh,
actually got one going at the moment that is hilarious, which is so a lady at work, like, I walked in on halfway through a conversation, and a lady at work went, "Oh, do you speak any other languages?"
mhm.
And I went, "Yeah, Maltese," which I can't.
Okay,
But my family's Maltese, and I just felt like in that moment, just yeah, sure.
sure.
And she was like, "Oh, really?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, my grandmother's Maltese." Blah blah. Right. And so then she started saying like, "Oh, what's this in Maltese?" And I was just making up words
Yeah.
on the spot, like "boo" and things like that. It's been going on for months now.
Oh my god.
And it's now got to the point where every day she sees me, she's always like, "Oh, what's this? What's this?" And she's building up a vocabulary
Oh
of
no.
words I have made up. And she's like now trying to have full conversations with me in a language I made up, and I don't remember half the stuff I said because it
Oh,
was 2 or 3 months ago.
that's so awkward. I feel like, oh no, are you gonna ever
No,
have
no,
to? Well,
everyone else is like in on it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, she's the only one who doesn't realize I'm just making this up.
But you're gonna have to one day break it to her. Either that or quit the job, I feel like.
No, I would. To be fair, she's a good sport, so I feel
Uh,
like when I do tell her, she's gonna like laugh and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you." She's not gonna be like, "I'm gonna go talk to someone." This
yeah,
is
I'm reporting you
not
to
okay.
HR. That's funny. That's good. I love shit like that. That's amazing. Good times. All right. This next one I don't think counts. The Brothers Garcia. Very
I've not seen that one.
very seminal Nickelodeon after school show. It was terrible. It was bad, but it doesn't count. So not a sitcom anymore. I think we've already decided Office, both of British and
No,
U.S. doesn't count. This one I don't think counts either. Nickelodeon show Secret World of Alex Mack. I did used to watch
I
it.
don't know.
It was good. It was the premise of the show, if I remember, was that she could morph into like a blob of like mercury and slither around, and like that was the premise, that she just got into weird situations.
Someone said we need to teach kids chemistry, and that was the idea they came up with.
Yeah, it was really weird. I don't really remember a whole lot about it other than, like I said, it existed, but it doesn't count now that I think about it. Um, all right, Three's Company.
I've not seen it.
It's good. I think it's more like what's his face? Not Paul Ritter. What's his? Not wait, Jason Ritter, Paul Ritter.
What from Eight Simple Rules?
Um, yes. hmm
Genre.
John Ritter. There
Yeah,
we go. Yes, John Ritter, was the kind of the main guy, and then as I mentioned, it's Suzanne Summers, I believe is her name, that who was then in Step by Step, but um, Wait, am I thinking of the right person? Yeah, I think it's Suzanne Summers. Um, yeah, and then I don't remember the other person's name because I don't think anyone ever does in Three's Company. It's usually just it's just those two. I think
Yeah,
honest,
when you got John Ritter, do you really need anyone else?
yeah, that's all you need. Come on. I mean, honestly, I think the show is just like, look at these attractive people getting into hijinks, and then of course they had the landlord, which was Barney from the Andy Griffith Show, I believe, Don Knotts, I think, and so it was like it's just weird 70s like I don't know. It was funny, like my grandparents and I think and parents probably watched it. That's about all I remember. That's my review. I'm gonna give it
It left an impact on the world.
yeah, clearly. I mean, John Ritter is great and unfortunately passed
Mm.
away, but yeah. Two and a Half Men.
So, what's your thoughts on Two and a Half Men?
So the only reason why I really watched it is when I went over to my dad's place. He would have like at least here in the U.S. or at least for a while, it was on a channel called FX, and it used to be like I don't know, it was a weird channel. I think it had some sports stuff and like random sitcom reruns. Like it was a weird channel. I don't know. I think the channel still exists actually, but I think FX has like morphed into something else now. But anyways, they used to play it I feel like on there all the time and I would kind of catch it while it was on at my dad's cuz he had it on for some reason. And I mean, it was fine, I guess.
I hate it.
I don't know. I guess I don't have any feelings other than like I saw it, like I maybe got a chuckle here and there. But like it was just Charlie Sheen being like a just being Charlie Sheen, like like the whole time.
Honestly, if it was me, I'd throw it in D. The joke is I have a lot of sex.
Right,
That's it.
exactly. Yeah.
And then like his brother's a bit. It's not like OCD, but he's a bit like weird and a bit straight laced.
Mhm. Yeah,
Someone just essentially, I feel like the premise was give Charlie Sheen a show.
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't think much past that.
Right.
Wait, Charlie Sheen live with a kid.
Right. Pretty much. And then I remember
Yeah.
after a while, there was honestly more controversy towards the later end because the kid ended up like by the towards the end of the show, like he grew
Yeah.
up, right? Like and he became I mean a teenager ish, but then like he started saying like the stuff he was doing on the show wasn't like agreeing with his personal values and it was really
Yeah,
weird.
he was like really Christian, I think.
Something like that,
But
yeah.
then also Charlie Sheen had his meltdown.
Right.
Then that was before the kid. Ashton Kutcher came into the show.
I never watched it when he was in it, so I have no idea how that
Yeah,
went.
yeah, no. Honestly, it was just really.
Give it a D tier. I can go with that. Wayne's Brothers, another instance where it was just on. I mean, the Wayne's Brothers are funny. Like I would
No.
watch. I would. So the thing is, I would watch In Living Color, like the sketch show of their family, which was hilarious. And they, I don't even think they made an appearance to be honest. But then I think after that became popular, they gave like the youngest kids their own show, and then they went on to make like different movies and stuff after that. But all right, just two brothers hanging out. That's about it.
I have no opinion.
Yeah, I can't remember much. Webster. If I remember correctly, two white people like either they somehow obtain a black child. I don't know how.
So Different Strokes Part Two.
I
They were like, that show's hit. Let's do it again.
yeah. Hold on. Let me look up the premise real quick. Because I remember it like even then I was like, this doesn't sound right. So, okay, here's the premise as I'm reading from Wikipedia. Webster Long, a young black child, loses his parents in a car crash. He gets taken in by his football playing father's wealthy former teammate, George Papadopoulos, and George's socialite wife, Catherine. George works as a sportscaster for a local TV station, and Catherine is an accomplished family psychologist. So, what could possibly go wrong?
I feel like any show that is definitely made by a white person going, wouldn't it be crazy if a black person lived with a white person?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole different. I actually went and looked up, and Different Strokes was made by white people.
Yep. Of course.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah. So I barely ever watch this. I still feel like it still deserves a D, personally. Um. All right. What's happening? And this is, I do remember watching more of this, I feel like, than like Webster or Different Strokes. But granted, it was very little still. So, and then the one thing I think I mentioned this last time was, if I remember correctly, I thought the dad from this show was the guy in who owned McDowell's in Coming to America. So
yeah, I've never seen what's happening.
yeah, let me confirm this. Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna say kind of know little about Will and Grace. My mom used to watch that. That's about all I remember.
Yeah, yeah, that was one that was sort of on around the same time as Friends that I just never bothered with.
hmm I know it had a reboot for a
Nothing,
little bit.
nothing about it really drew me in.
Yeah, just gonna say D. This next one, okay, I feel like I need to watch it. It's called WKRP in Cincinnati. And the only reason why is because that's where I'm from and where I live. I don't know anything about this show other than I think it's just like a radio station in Cincinnati. And I don't know if they like filmed it here or why it's called that, but I feel like I have an obligation where I just have to watch it. So maybe I will watch it one day, but I don't know anything about it.
So when I was looking up about the Drew Carey show,
hmm
um, this show came up
hmm
because apparently it was one with a lot of music issues and licensing issues as well.
Oh, okay.
And there was apparently a company that like went back to the music rights,
hmm
like individual like studios, and got the rights and like released like just 10,000 DVDs of it, and like that's all there is that exists of it.
Nice. All right. Next time I'm at the
So,
bookstore, I'll have to check it out, see if they have it.
yeah, they do niche stuff. It's some company called Shout Factory.
Yeah.
I think they do it with like Freaks and Geeks as
hmm
well.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
Shout Factory, funny enough, I have a few Shout Factory collections like Freaks and Geeks. I have the Blu-ray set of that by Shout Factory, and they've done a lot of like weird niche type of stuff. I love that company. They do a really good job with like re-releasing hard to
Mm.
find type of stuff. So one day I'll
That's
watch
my
it.
extent of
Mhm.
knowledge about this show, though.
Yeah. Workaholics, I don't think counts. I think that's a disqualified. It's not really a sitcom. I'd recommend it. I think it's a funny show, but I don't think it counts. What the fuck is this? Oh, Zoe 101 from Nickelodeon. Doesn't count.
Never watched
It's
it.
it's dog shit. It starred Britney Spears' little sister, and I think that was the premise. I mean, not literally. Like that's not the
Yeah.
premise of the show, but I think it's similarly to whatever else we talked about a minute ago. Like Charlie Sheen. They like here's a somewhat famous person or a relative. They should have a show now.
Stallone.
Exactly. Yeah. King of Queens. Never really watched. You were the one who reminded me to put this on here, though.
I really enjoy King of Queens.
What is the premise? Is like he's a delivery
And
man, basically, or what?
he like works for like a UPS style
hmm
thing, and it's like him and his wife, and it's her father, who's played by Jerry Stiller,
Well, that's always gonna be
moves
good.
moves into their basement.
Perfect.
He makes the show. Jerry Stiller.
Really.
He's hilarious. Yeah, he's just insane and hilarious.
hmm
Like I just also remember a bit where it's like a cold opening. It's like daughter goes like the his wife goes out and she's like, "Oh, you two can order a pizza,"
hmm
and he goes to order the pizza and he's like, "Oh, can you read me the phone number?"
hmm
Jerry Stiller again. 17.
uh,
He's like, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. What a great. And
Yeah,
he was in
yeah,
Seinfeld as well, right? He was Stan's dad or something, right?
yeah. I think he just passed away.
Yeah, not too long ago, I don't think, but yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and like Ben Stiller cameos in a flashback as his dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Uh,
like even Adam Sandler cameos in an
mhm,
episode. He's like really good friends with Kevin James.
right. Yeah.
Um, Also, as well, it's similar in Seinfeld in that they admit they're bad. Like they're not great. They don't have kids.
Hmm.
They're very selfish.
Yeah.
There's an episode where they have some money and they try to be good people and donate it to a library,
Hmm.
and then get angry that they don't get as big a plaque as someone else who donated less.
Just selfish assholes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And they're quite like open and upfront with each other about like they want like about how they're greedy or they don't
mm.
like their friends' kids and stuff like that.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It's like they babysit their friends' kids all the time, so they try to get their friends to babysit Jerry Stiller.
I can see, yeah, I feel like this is a show I probably would enjoy watching, to be honest. I don't know if I just never got around to it, or I don't know why I never watched it, but I always heard good things about it.
It's not one you need to watch like season one, episode one.
Hmm.
It's one you can just whack on.
Yeah.
Once you know the premise, it's all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it a beat though.
Me?
It is funny. It is funny. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, perfect. Also, I just realized a few people followed throughout the stream, but for some reason, nothing popped up. So let me see if I can repeat it. Let me see if it works here. There we go. Let me know if you hear that.
Perfect. Also, I just realized I can't hear it on mine, so
Oh, that's right. You have it muted.
yeah.
It's the Tim Allen grunt. That's what it was. So you did guess correctly earlier. Uh, Perfect. Okay. Okay, no, this next one I still know. Which, okay, Mr. Bean, is that a sitcom? I
So
is it?
most of it he's in like a his house or like a dentist's office or something like that.
Yeah, it's just such a weird one because like he just makes noises. Like he doesn't talk. He just makes grunts and
No,
shit. Uh,
yeah. No, essentially it's essentially a silent movie
that's what I
though,
was
isn't
gonna.
it?
Yeah, it's like a modern silent movie. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Apparently, it's like huge with deaf kids.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think I saw Ryan Atkinson say like he regularly gets letters from
Hmm.
like parents of deaf children
Hmm.
because it's like their favorite show because you don't need sound to enjoy it.
Right, right. I mean, it's funny as shit. Like, I mean, granted, it's been a long time since I've watched it, but I always remembered it cracked me up.
I always love the movie as well.
I don't know if I've seen the movie actually.
Oh, where he goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Oh, you've got to watch that.
I'm,
Got to watch.
I
It's
def,
just
I.
called. It's just called Bean.
That's just Bean.
Because he
Okay.
goes. Yeah, he goes to America
Hmm.
because it's a gallery that gets like a painting.
Hmm.
He's sent as like the British representation,
Hmm.
the unveiling or whatever, and he just stays with this American family.
Okay. Good premise.
And it's the dad is the guy from Ghostbusters 2 who gets like possessed by the painting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, he plays like the dad that he stays with.
Perfect. All right, I'll have to check this out.
Oh, it is hilarious. It's hilarious.
I'll add
It's
that
like
on.
he goes to the airport
Hmm.
and he sees all the police officers with guns. So
Hmm.
he starts going around like that, like with like his hand in his jacket, like, and then like obviously the SWAT team start chasing him, and they're like put it on the floor, and he's like this.
Oh my God, that's amazing. He's such a. It's so funny because like after Mr. Bean came out, and we'll talk about the next show in a minute as well, where I believe he was in. Um, he like people in America, I feel like only knew him as Mr. Bean, and maybe that was the case in the UK as well. But like he would try and do other things here, and I feel like he could never get past being known as that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's quite just well known for being Rowan Atkinson in England.
Yeah, yeah. In America, I feel like
Like,
that just. I don't know if it ever got past that, frankly. But granted, not too many Rowan Atkinson comedies coming out here either.
yeah, he's not. He don't do a lot.
Mm,
He seems like one of those people who like does a project every 5 years.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. He's not Adam Sandler. Got a movie every year.
Right. Um,
But he was great in Rat Race.
Rat. Oh my God! I'm glad you mentioned Rat Race. That has to be. That's definitely a top movie for me. I love that movie, just in general, but with him in it too, it's great. Yeah, I love that. It's such a good
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Um.
No, I think Mr. Bean is just very clever as
Mhm,
a show,
mhm.
and that's about a very silly man.
Yeah.
I think it's just a very clever, very well executed show.
What do you think? Like B or C?
Oh, I would go A,
You
Mr.
get
Bean.
A.
I would. I mean, if you want to go B because you're sort of in the middle there,
I definitely remember loving it. I can say that much. I
I've gone back and watched it. Like I've put it on for like my nephews before because it's something that I know I'll enjoy over whatever's on
yeah.
Disney Channel these days.
Mhm.
I love it, and I'm laughing along with them.
Mhm. All
Like
right.
where he wants to paint his house, so he wraps everything in newspaper, then sticks a stick of dynamite in his paint can.
That sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's all right. I think I can agree with that. We need a wild card like Mr. Bean to get thrown in there. I feel like the top isn't as heavy with shows, so I'm good with that. All right. These next four, I believe, are all you, since I have not seen any of them and they were your recommendations.
Okay, you have to let me know because I don't see obviously what's
Oh, sorry. So it's Blackadder, Only Fools and Horses, One Foot in the Grave, and Father Ted. So we can start with Blackadder.
like. Blackadder is weird because like season one is a D,
Okay.
season two is probably an A, season three is like a B or a C, and then season four is definitely an S.
Sounds like maybe a
So
B tier then, and like average it out.
I would put it as an A still, to be honest. So
Really? Okay.
Blackadder is set in different every season's the same actors playing different characters in different time periods.
Hmm.
So like season one is he's the son of like one of the Tudors.
Hmm.
Season two, he's like a lord to like Elizabeth the First, but
Hmm.
she's played as like a spoiled little girl.
Okay.
He's like, if you don't do what I want, I'll chop your head off. Like, she's like, did you get me a present?
Okay.
Yeah, and
Nice.
then like it has like Rowan Atkinson in it. It has Stephen Fry, if you know him.
Hmm.
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Season three is like a butler to King George.
Okay.
And then season four it's World War One, and they're in the trenches.
Great.
And pretty much what it is Blackadder is very cynical, very sarcastic,
Hmm.
and then everyone else around him is people of those time periods, but they're played up like idiots because they are
Yeah.
like people who are excited to fight the Germans and that, and he's like, "Why are you excited to
Yeah.
die?"
So, but even though each
But
season takes place in a different setting, they're not like connected in any way, right? Like they're truly separate.
no, no, you could just watch season three,
Right.
and that'd be it.
Okay. Yeah,
You don't need.
it's not like a quantum leap situation where he's actually leaping from body to body or something like that. Okay.
No, it's
All right.
like so there's, for instance, an episode of season two where a guy comes back to Queen Elizabeth and starts telling stories about all these strange lands he's been to, where he's fought
Mhm.
giants with one eye and things like that. and then like he decides, oh, okay, let's. I'm going to go to this place you talked about, and then they just go hide in France for like 3 years because they get lost on the way.
Oh, it's genius.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, and there's like a episode where it's a girl comes to work for him, but obviously being like
Hmm.
old England, like women can't work and that, so she cuts her hair short and calls herself Bob. It's like no one realizes this woman is obviously a man. Like comes out with a towel on her head.
Right. They'll never
They're
figure
like,
it out.
Bob, you seem like a fine young chap.
Like, okay.
Yeah, and then like you go to season 4 where it's World War I, and Bob is in it again,
Hmm.
pretend a woman pretending to be a man again.
So there's some running gags between the seasons.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, season 4 is just hilarious because it is essentially them sitting in a trench talking,
Hmm.
and it's just ridiculous. Uh, like he's like, "Oh, let's make some coffee or whatever. Where is the coffee?" He goes, "Oh, well, we ran out of coffee months ago." Really? So what have we been drinking then? Well, I just put some water with mud.
That seems
He
great.
goes, "Oh," he goes, "So for months we've been drinking mud water." And he goes, "Well, no, because I ran out of water a while ago, so I've been using spit." He goes, "And what about when I asked for sugar? Dandruff."
Oh, sick. All right. I feel like I would like this show. It seems like something I'd
Yeah,
enjoy.
if you like the IT crowd kind of silliness,
Hmm.
like they go, "Oh, we need you to go and paint the German front so we know what we're coming up against because obviously they don't have
Yeah.
cameras or anything." And he goes, "Why should we risk our lives going up there and painting it when we can just make it up? Let's just make it look really scary so they
Yeah.
don't send us over there as well." And he gets a guy who's a really good painter, but he's just an idiot to do it. And he's
Mm.
like, and the general's like, I never knew the Germans had elephants.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking and it looks like it's on Hulu. So yeah, I could probably
Yeah.
put that on. All right.
Start with season 2,
Hmm.
skip season 1.
Okay.
It's awful.
All right.
It had like new writers and everything like that starting season 2.
Hmm. Okay. So you think it's an
I
A
would put
then?
it as an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two Rowan Atkinsons for tier A. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay. Only Fools and Horses.
See, this one's hard for me because for me it's an S.
Sure.
But I would not recommend an American watches it because
Okay.
I don't think it would translate
All right.
because it's from like South London, which is like where my family are from. The
Mhm.
way they talk, the way they act,
Mhm.
the kind of characters that come up in it are characters you know if you are from England.
Mhm.
And I've watched it before, and my wife's been in the room. She laughs at jokes here and there and things like that, but she does enjoy it for the most part.
Mhm.
It's like it started in the 70s, maybe early 80s, and ran to like 2000.
Oh wow.
And it was like the biggest show in the UK. I
Mhm.
think it holds the record for like the most watched TV show.
Damn. Okay.
Um, it's like our version of Seinfeld in terms of like how big it is,
Mhm.
and it's just these two brothers and their granddad and their uncle who live in a flat in South London
Mhm.
who have a business where they just sell crap, but
Okay.
it's all like stolen stuff.
Oh, I thought you said sell
And
crack. I was like, what?
crap, no crap.
Crap. Sorry.
So it'd be like, oh, I've got VCRs and stuff like that, but they're broken because they're now made in like Algeria.
Yeah.
Like really knockoff stuff, like
Yeah.
not like legit or anything
Right.
like that. Where it's like, oh, he gets like these little ornaments that sing "How much is that doggy in the window?" but they're cats.
Okay. But like
Yeah,
is
it's it's
but is the humor like i- is it like a British style show? Like when you say not you wouldn't recommend Americans watch it because it is very UK or British humor, or it's even more specific to like you said a particular area or
it's not even just an area. It's like if you're from England, you know what Cockney rhyming slang is.
Mhm.
but Americans don't. So I think like my wife even struggles with the way they talk.
Hmm.
She can't really understand it because it's a lot of slang,
Yeah.
that we use,
Right.
and English people know how to understand that.
Sure.
They know the type of people. Um, I would not recommend an American watches it, even though I would say for me it's an S tier show.
Sure.
I know that sounds so ridiculous, but
Hmm.
I mean, there's like certain episodes like I've put on, and my wife's found it funny. It's like where he enters his brother's painting into a competition to win a holiday,
Hmm.
like Kellogg's one,
Yeah.
and they win. And he doesn't tell them until he gets there that it's an under 13s competition. So the brother has to pretend he's 13 the entire holiday. So like he's trying to have a drink and that, and like the holiday reps come in, they're like hiding it.
Oh, that's funny. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. I'll leave it. I'll leave it to you. What do you want to rank it? I'm cool with whatever.
I would put an S, but that's just me personally.
That's fine. I haven't seen it, so I couldn't say. So I'll have to trust you on that one. I mean, shit. If you're saying it's like everyone, even not just from the area you're from, but like if it's a popular one that everyone knows, then like yeah, I could see that.
Hmm.
Okay. One Foot in the Grave.
One Foot in the Grave, I think an American could enjoy.
Okay.
So it's a guy who's essentially retired. He gets forced into retirement.
Hmm.
Tim not being happy about it, going about his day-to-day job, and just the world is against him.
Hmm.
More grounded Al Bundy.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because it's just stupid stuff always happens to him. Like a guy, like he orders like a plant
Hmm.
from like a Home Depot type place,
Hmm.
and he says to the guy, "Oh, can you put it in the downstairs toilet?" And the guy goes, "Yeah," because he's like upstairs, and he like yells down the stairs, "Can you just put it in the downstairs toilet?" And he comes down later, and the guys took it out of the pot and planted it in the toilet bowl.
Literally in the toilet. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's like the idiot. Um, yeah, it's he just walks around. He's constantly just on the wrong end of
mhm,
everything that happens.
that's funny. Okay.
Uh, yeah, that one is great. One Foot in the Grave.
Okay.
It's I'll give that an A.
All right. Man, these British comedies, they're ranking high.
Yeah, well, when we were thinking it, I could only think of the ones that I really, really like.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, like I
yeah.
said,
There is
we'll do a re-ranking or not like we'll clarify things too if we need to move anything else around, but yeah.
like also as well. They just do episodes where it's like they're stuck in a traffic,
Mhm.
and it's him and his wife just sitting in the car moaning for 20 minutes about like what like they shouldn't have left when they did and things like.
Yeah.
And there's another episode where they're just in a doctor's waiting room. The entire
Sure.
episode, like Seinfeld with the
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they do episodes. They do episodes like that.
Okay. I could see that being good. Yeah, I mean there's
Yeah,
plenty of stuff that's going to translate regardless of where you're from. That's just going to be funny. So,
yeah. It is one I'd really recommend. I think I've seen it before on like PBS over here and stuff like that because they show a lot of British
yeah,
shows.
they do. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Cool. And then Father Ted.
This is one I thought you would like because it's made by the same people who make the IT Crowd,
Mhm.
and it's set in Ireland, and it's three priests and they're like housekeeper, and it just is ridiculous. It's just these three priests getting
Mhm.
into the most ridiculous situations. Like there's most famous episode is probably the Christmas episode where they go shopping
Mhm.
and they get lost in the lingerie section of a shop and they're trying to get out, but they keep saying like I hear it's the largest lingerie section in Europe, and they keep coming across other priests who are trying to sneak out in there, and they're like, we got lost in here as well, and they're like, look guys, 12 priests in a lingerie section snooping around looking suspicious. We've got to get out of here.
Do you know if it's the same people that made it? Like, are some of those actors in it as well, or no?
No, no, it's not that because it was sort of mid to late 90s.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it was. I think those people would have probably been a bit too young to be in
Yeah.
it. But you've got like one priest who's an absolute idiot called Dougal,
Hmm.
who he's like it's also a play on like the Catholic Church and how it just takes these groups of people and just moves them around,
Hmm.
and it's a dysfunctional organization and things like that.
Yeah.
Like one of the fathers called Father Jack, and he's just a drunk who sits in the corner yelling "drink" constantly,
Okay.
and they're just constantly giving him alcohol just to keep him quiet.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think the funniest thing is so they sleep in the same bedroom. The two main characters have like twin beds
Hmm.
next to each other, and I Dougal, because he's an idiot, has like Action Man, like sort of GI Joe bed covers and stuff like that. He they get in the bed and he turns the light off, and like 2 seconds after turning the light off, he remembers something. He turns the light back on, and the guy who's an idiot gets up as if he's just been sleeping for 8 hours. Like he doesn't realize the time hasn't passed.
See, that sounds like something I would definitely enjoy watching. And I just checked; it looks like it's free on a couple of different services, or one like Amazon, I think, or something else. So I think I could check that out. That's funny. Okay.
They do an episode that's a parody of Speed,
Speed,
where
like the movie.
yes, yeah, Speed, where the milkman they find out has been sleeping with all the women in the village.
Great.
So he gets him fired, and then one of the priests agrees, like, "Oh, I'll be the milkman until you find a new one."
Hmm.
And the old milkman rigs a bomb onto the milk
Oh my
truck.
God.
He's like, if it goes below or under 2 miles per hour, it's gonna blow. He's just driving at 2 miles per hour the entire time.
Oh my God, that's great. Oh my, that sounds funny. Yeah, I feel like that's something I'd probably enjoy as well. Oh my gosh. Okay. What do you think?
I'll give that a B.
You want to be? All right. Oh my gosh. All right. At long last. I mean, granted, we could always keep coming back to this. We can do another episode if we want to rearrange. I was gonna say we can. Yeah, maybe I'll leave that for another episode. Actually, I might see if there's any other ones we need to add, and then maybe rearrange for a part three. If unless you want to do that quickly now.
Now we'll wrap it up for now,
All right.
because I think we can always think of more to come back to as well.
All right. So, oops. Let me make sure. Save. What? All right. I'll figure this out later. Um, cool. But yeah, so that was lovely. I mean, still obviously the King Drew Carey show clearly, and then
We'll come back one
hopefully. But yeah, so all right, I think this is a pretty good list. I think we got through a lot. I think close to like 100 shows, or at least, or something like that. So there's
day.
quite a lot. It's still, nothing is gonna get worse than Alf. Literal Hitler can't get any worse. Um,
The Hitler show.
yeah, yeah, it's literally the Hitler show. But yeah, I think it was good. Had a good time ranking these, and
Yeah.
some ones I'll definitely be checking out for sure. All right. Well, for all of you watching, it's been real. Hopefully, we'll see if you had any disagreements. I guess actually maybe after this, I'll take a picture if you want to post it on the Twitter to see if anyone has any thoughts. We can do that too. But
Be like, this is the finish. We will be taking no further questions.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. We will not be canceled again. But yeah, all right. Well, thank you for joining me as always, and until the next ranking.
Yeah.
All
There we
right.
go.
Take it easy, everyone.